Chapter 752. Haha, the Fated One is wrong. Just now, the Fated One said that you wanted to see my body. Then, you asked me to show you my posture. Finally, you asked me not to follow you. I have already fulfilled these 3 conditions. Since that is the case, why would I lie to you? Xuanmiao Empress smiled faintly. Her alluring figure appeared in the room of the inn. She was looking at Wang Kai, who was sitting in front of the table. You can act pretentious in front of a beauty. But isn't it too much to act pretentious in front of Ben Xiao? I told you not to follow me. Why are you still here? Wang Kai's face darkened. He looked like he was ready to throw caution to the wind. Anyway, he was already at this stage. It was impossible to escape from Xuanmiao Empress, even with the system concealing his aura. As long as she kept staring at you, you would be suppressed the moment you tore through the void. He might as well curse to his heart's content. At worst, he would just die again. I don't understand the words of the Fated One. However, I did not follow you here. I was already here before you came to this city. I just happened to sense the aura of this cat demon. Xuanmiao Empress smiled gently. Her voice was enchanting and extremely pleasant to listen to. Looking at her beautiful face, as well as her high and mighty attitude, as if she had everything under her control, Wang Kai really couldn't find any loopholes. Bitch, do you really think you are the strongest in the world? How can there be such a coincidence? You may believe it, but will Ben Xiao believe it? Wang Kai snorted with a cold face and an unfriendly tone. As soon as he finished speaking, he looked at Cat Lord, who was still unconscious on his shoulder. He suddenly had the thought of throwing him out. As long as he didn't use force, no one would be able to discover his aura. But Cat Lord had met Xuanmiao Empress. It would be difficult for him not to be discovered. Of course he will. You came to Tongtian domain this time to sneak into Tongtian sect. Since that is the case, you will definitely choose to come to Tongtian city first. Because only here will you have a chance. Xuanmiao Empress said faintly. Hiss hiss. Hearing this, Wang Kai immediately took a deep breath of cold air. If that was the case, he had really been completely tricked by her. She even knew that he was going to sneak into the sky-reaching church. Moreover, what he said was reasonable. Indeed, if one wanted to sneak into the sky-reaching church, only in the sky-reaching city would one have the best chance. After all, almost everyone in sky-reaching city had some sort of connection with the sky-reaching church. Even the church's disciples would appear here. Also, the banquet of the sky-reaching church was about to be held. The 3,000 forces coming and going would inevitably pass through the sky-reaching city. Which son of AB*TCH was it that set this young master up behind my back? Tell me, who told you that Ben Xiao is your fated person? Wang Kai frowned and said with a dark expression. I have already told you the answer. Heaven's secrets cannot be revealed. It was an old man who said that. I came to this city because of the old man's guidance. He knows your background very well. Mysterious female monarch blinked her beautiful eyes and actually winked a few more times playfully. It was as if he was hinting at Wang Kai to know who had said that. An old man said that heaven's secrets could not be revealed. He even knew his background very well. Wang Kai frowned and thought for a long time. Finally, his pupils suddenly shrank. He slammed the table and stood up, shouting, Could it be him? That's not right. He should be in the 8 desolations. Damn it. If we don't talk about this, Ben Xiao would have forgotten that in the 8 desolations, there was a bastard called Tianji Elder who had schemed against Ben Xiao. Tianji Elder. As soon as he said that, mysterious female monarch's beautiful eyes flashed slightly. Her expression was still extremely calm, and there was nothing unusual. However, in Wang Kai's eyes, everything was clear. Mysterious female monarch would not say it directly. However, her silence and pretending not to know was the best hint. It is indeed that old bastard, Tianji Elder. He is really awesome. In the 8 desolations, he helped the old prime minister to scheme against Ben Xiao. Now that he has come to Tianzhou, he has followed him. Moreover, he has found such an awesome mysterious female monarch. Wang Kai frowned and cursed continuously with a dark face. If he had the chance to find Tianji Elder, he really wanted to ask him how much hatred he had for him. Fated One, I have already fulfilled 3 of your wishes. You should also fulfill mine, right? Mysterious female monarch smiled faintly. Her beautiful eyes stared at Wang Kai as if she was looking at a treasure. Seeing this, Wang Kai's mouth suddenly twitched. He immediately stood up and began to take off his clothes without saying anything. You? Fated One, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Whoosh! Mysterious female monarch frowned. She waved her jade-like hand and froze Wang Kai in place. Didn't you want Ben Shao to satisfy you? Before satisfying you, shouldn't Ben Shao have taken off his clothes first? Moreover, Ben Shao has already seen you. If I let you see Ben Shao, then we are even, right? Unable to move, Wang Kai was not surprised. With such a powerful mysterious female monarch, even if there were 10,000 of him, he would definitely not be her opponent. The satisfaction I am talking about is not that filthy thing. As my fated one, what you need to do is to help me. Mysterious female monarch's tone began to turn cold. Wang Kai did not buy it at all. In order to make Wang Kai sincerely help her, she even let him see her body. But now it was not what she had imagined. The only thing she could do now was to use the hard way. TSK, an old bastard said that this monarch is your fated one, and then you believed it. Moreover, you didn't hesitate to destroy your own innocence to let this young master see your so-called stinky skin. Now, seeing that the soft approach doesn't work, you're using the hard approach? Do you think you are the emperor? You say whatever you want? Wang Kai frowned and snorted with disdain. The fated one will not agree to help peacefully. Since that is the case, we can only suppress it by force. Although the result will be much worse, this is the only way. Let's go. Mysterious female monarch said indifferently. Whoosh. Gotcha. As soon as she finished speaking, mysterious female monarch waved her jade-like hand, and the void tore open. Inside there was a long black passage. It was completely different from the other warriors and even the void that Wang Kai tore open. Seeing this, Wang Kai's pupils shrank. When he tore open the void, there was no such neat passage. Moreover, there was clearly a designated place in the passage. Wait, where are you taking Ben Shao? Hey. Fine. Ben Shao admitted defeat, okay? Ben Shao will help you, and he will sincerely help you. However, before that, you have to help Ben Shao first. Ben Shao also has something that needs to be solved. Seeing that mysterious female monarch did not care about him, Wang Kai was suddenly anxious. He could only grit his teeth and choose to compromise temporarily. Chapter 753. I have granted you 3 wishes and they have all been fulfilled, Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. It was obvious that she did not want to help. Wang Kai looked at her with disdain in his heart, but he said calmly, if you want Ben Shao to sincerely help you, then you have to consider whether you want to help or not. Swoosh. Hearing this, Xuanmiao Empress frowned slightly. Her eyes, which seemed to be psychic, stared at Wang Kai. After a long while, she turned around and said indifferently, what do you want me to help you with? Did she agree? If there was a first, there would be a second. If there was a second, there would be a third. That was human nature. Wang Kai sneered. Since Xuanmiao Empress had something to ask of him, he could make her compromise as long as he controlled it well. It's simple. Follow Ben Shao in the dark and be Ben Shao's henchman. When there is danger, Ben Shao will flick his clothes. That is the signal for you to appear, Wang Kai said with a faint smile. Flick his clothes was the signal? Xuanmiao Empress shook her head slightly and her eyes were filled with amusement. Okay, I can promise you. However, I will only act once, Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Only once? How was that enough? That won't do. If you only act once, what if Ben Shao accidentally dies? When the time comes, who will you ask for help from? Don't you think so? Wang Kai smiled with his eyes squinted. He looked as if he had Xuanmiao Empress under control. I will not let you die. At least in Tianzhou, no one can kill you. Xuanmiao Empress was full of confidence and said without hesitation. Hearing this, Wang Kai couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. It had to be said that this woman's tone was really big. What is your cultivation level? Can you deal with the transcending heaven church? Wang Kai asked expectantly. Celestial King Realm. There is only one person in the sky-reaching school that I cannot defeat at the moment. However, that person is not in Tianzhou right now, so he is not within our calculations. You can do whatever you want. I will only give you 3 days. Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. What a big tone. What kind of realm was the Star King realm? Above the Star Lord? Or even higher? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and pondered for a while before saying, if that's the case, then let go of Ben Shao. Now that we've reached a consensus, we're in an alliance. We should be intimate with each other, not like this. Intimacy? Hearing these words, Xuanmiao Empress sneered. Without turning her head, she waved her hand and Wang Kai regained his freedom. Fated One, I hope you won't go back on your words. Wang. As soon as she finished speaking, Xuanmiao Empress disappeared from the room, as if she had never been there. Escape? Or not? Wang Kai furrowed his brows and scanned his surroundings from the corner of his eyes. In the end, he reluctantly dismissed the idea. Xuanmiao Empress must be hiding beside him. If he wanted to escape, he would definitely be caught on the spot. At that time, the consequences would be unimaginable. In the end, it's all this big stupid cat's fault. Damn it, if I knew Xuanmiao Empress was so powerful, I would have thrown you into the Buzhou Sky Palace earlier. Wang Kai's face darkened as he snorted regretfully. With a flip of his hand, he threw Lord Cat into the Buzhou Sky Palace. Without anyone else to detect his aura, he only needed to find a chance to escape. Bang bang bang. Sir, may I ask if you're resting? Suddenly, there was a knock on the door and the voice of the inn's waiter came from outside. Not yet. Why? Have you prepared the food and wine? Bring it in. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and smiled casually. Patter. The door was pushed open by the waiter. Other than the waiter, there were 2 young men in the same clothes behind him. Moreover, Wang Kai was very familiar with their clothes. They were the robes of the sky-reaching school's disciples. Moreover, they were 2 inner disciples. Their status was not low. Sir, all the superior heaven rooms in the inn are already taken. So, could you please give your room to these 2 more distinguished guests? Of course, the room fee will be deducted for free. You will also be allowed to eat free of charge in the inn. The waiter said cautiously. Snatching the room? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and casually glanced at the 2 silent inner disciples of the sky-reaching school. He said indifferently, there are plenty of rooms. Since they are all taken, why do you want Ben Shao to give up his room? Do you think Ben Shao is trash? Whoosh. As soon as he said that, the waiter trembled and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. At the same time, the 2 disciples of the sky-reaching school behind him also looked coldly at Wang Kai. The waiter wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said cautiously, Sir, because you are the last one to check in, the other guests have already checked in for a few days. So, no matter who it was, the waiter did not want to provoke them. However, if he had to choose one, he could only choose to offend Wang Kai. After all, Sky-Reaching City was the territory of the Sky-Reaching School. Just because Ben Shao checked in last, he should be the first to be snatched away? F***CKU, you really think this young master is trash? Wang Kai's brows suddenly twisted, and he immediately waved his hand. Buzz. Bang. Suddenly, under the strong pulling force, the shop assistant was directly captured in Wang Kai's hand. Wang Kai held the shop assistant's neck tightly and even kicked the shop assistant's legs, causing him to kneel on the ground. "Sir, please spare my life. Sir, please spare my life." The waiter was in pain, but he did not dare to scream. He could only clench his teeth and endure the pain in his legs as he begged for mercy. As a waiter of the inn, he had encountered similar and even more serious situations before. Therefore, the waiter knew very well what he should do now. "Do you want to be the enemy of the Sky-Reaching School?" Whoosh! Finally, the two disciples of the Sky-Reaching School that Wang Kai had been waiting for finally spoke. Hearing this, Wang Kai shrugged casually and let go of the waiter. He smiled faintly and said, "Ben Shao has never thought of being the enemy of the Sky-Reaching School. However, as disciples of the Sky-Reaching School, don't you know who Ben Shao is? Or did you follow those old bastards back from the extraterritorial area? Oh no, you are." Whoosh! Suddenly, before the two disciples could say Wang Kai's name, they were slapped to the ground by Wang Kai. "You can sleep for a few days." Then, Wang Kai stomped on the waiter and knocked him out on the spot. Ahem, Wang Kai, how dare you come to the Sky-Reaching realm?" The two inner disciples of the Sky-Reaching School clutched their chests and got up from the ground. Chapter 754. Tut, tut, why doesn't Ben Shao dare to come to the Tongtian realm? Do you really think that just because some old bastards of the Sky-Reaching Church have returned, they can capture me? Zhang Yang thought. I'm not afraid to tell you that if this young master wants to exterminate them, all I need to do is dig out my nose and I can kill them all. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You've gained 1 million experience points and 1,000 bragging points. A booger? The two inner disciples of the Transcending Heaven Immortal cult twitched the corners of their mouths as they heard this. They felt a chill in their hearts. Wang Kai, we've heard about your bragging ability. When the goddess was looking for you all over the Tongtian sect, we were one of them. It's a pity that we couldn't find you. However, it's not too late now. It's not bad to see you bragging with our own eyes. The inner disciple of the Tongtian sect sneered. After hearing this, Wang Kai squinted his eyes slightly. Strange, where did these two inner disciples get their guts from? Even in such a situation, they still dared to talk to him? Do you think you can survive? Wang Kai asked in surprise. No! That's right. We never thought that we would survive after meeting you. What? Hearing their answers, Wang Kai was a little puzzled. Could it be that they knew they were going to die, so they had the courage to do it? But it didn't seem like it. Wang Kai, the reason we came to Heavenspan City is to look for you. Furthermore, the elders of the Heavenspan Church, in order to prevent us from meeting you and dying in an accident, left us jade medallions that can be used to communicate at any time. That is to say, the elders of Heaven's Reaching Church have heard what you've told us just now. Swish. Wang Kai's eyebrows twisted as soon as the voices of the two disciples of the Transcending Heaven Immortal cult fell. Then, he turned his hand and shot his palm. Bang! Bang! The two disciples were killed on the spot. Wang Kai, don't run away. Buzz. 2 black jade tokens flew out from the bosom of the two disciples. A voice that was filled with killing intent was emitted from within the jade tokens. Hee, it seems that you've seen that Ben Shao is the one who fought with Bai Jio before. But Ben Shao, I'm curious. Why didn't you take action at that time? Wang Kai shrugged and said with a sarcastic smile. Did they know that I would come to Tongtian City and sneak into the Tongtian sect? Xuanmiao Empress knew that I would come to Tongtian City and sneak into the Tongtian sect with the guidance of the Tianji Elder. How did the Tongtian sect know that? Bai Jio has a special identity, so the Tongtian sect doesn't want to be his enemy. They want you to fight with him, and then some people from White Star will come to kill you. What a pity! Anyway, it's not difficult for the Sky-Reaching Church to kill you. Hearing the voice of the Tongtian sect's words, Wang suddenly understood. It turned out that the Tongtian sect wanted to kill him with the help of Baijiu. Wait and see. Ben Shao will bring you a feast. Crack. After saying that, Wang Kai tore open the void with his bare hand. His body disappeared into it, and his aura disappeared completely. Whoosh, whoosh. At the same time, several figures appeared in the room. They turned their hands and slapped the void, causing it to explode. However, there was still no trace of Wang Kai. Damn it! Bastard! Check. Check quickly. At the same time, Wang Kai, who had come to a corner of Tongtian City, squinted his eyes and sneered helplessly. Even if they want to kill me with the help of the force behind Baijiu, they would never have guessed that Ben Shao would come to Tongtian City. They wouldn't have known that I would walk into the Tongtian sect's trap. It should be the Tianji elders' doing. Whoosh! The Xuanmiao Empress appeared and floated in the air. She spoke in an indifferent tone. In her opinion, the Tianji elder was the only one in the world who could find Wang Kai. After all, even she, a Star King realm expert, could not find Wang Kai, who had completely stopped breathing. If not for the guidance of the Elder of Heavenly Secrets, he would never have been able to discover where Wang Kai had gone. It was also because of this that mysterious Empress's eyes never left Wang Kai's side as she followed him. She was afraid that Wang Kai would escape again. Ben Shao has the system to hide his aura. Tianji Elder should be able to hide his aura too. Moreover, the Tianji Elder should be able to figure out my location and my purpose through someone related to Ben Shao. Just like Ji Ruxue. Wang Kai furrowed his brows and thought to himself. You followed the big stupid cat to find Ben Shao, right? Wang Kai's pupils shrank as he suddenly understood. Hearing this, Xuanmiao Empress didn't hide anything and bluntly nodded. Correct, Tianji Elder's divination can follow the illusion god to find you. As long as you have a conversation with him, then Tianji Elder can calculate your next location using me. Whoosh. When these words were spoken, Wang Kai's eyebrows immediately twisted, and his face abruptly darkened. He immediately regretted it. If he had not talked to the Xuanmiao Empress, it would have proved that they were strangers who had nothing to do with each other. But once they talked to each other, there would be karma. With karma, the Tianji Elder could use her to figure out his location. Damn it! Old bastard, you better not let Ben Shao find you! Wang Kai snorted fiercely. Helping the Xuanmiao Empress figure out his location was one thing, but now, helping the Tongtian sect. There were many people who had karma with him in the Tongtian sect. You don't have to do it yourself to take the Tianji Elder's life, the Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Her eyes contained a trace of amazement. What do you mean? Wang Kai frowned and asked, puzzled. The Tianji Elder once said that calculating you once would consume 100 times more lifespan than any other expert. With his realm and lifespan, he can calculate you once or twice at most. The Xuanmiao Empress smiled faintly. She looked as if she also wanted the Tianji Elder to die. However, Wang Kai agreed with her idea of cursing the Tianji Elder to death. It was too dangerous and too hateful. In the 8 Desolations, someone said the same thing, but he still came to Tianzhou and continued to calculate Ben Shao. What's more ridiculous is that he's still alive. Who is he? The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched slightly and he said angrily. He completely ignored what the Elder of Heavenly Secrets had said about how he would consume 100 times his lifespan just by divining once. He's the most mysterious expert in Tianzhou, no, in the entire star field. No one has seen him fight and he doesn't have a strong background. However, all the experts are respectful to him. If he wants to kill someone, he doesn't have to do it himself. Countless experts will take the initiative to kill him. The Xuanmiao Empress said faintly. Her tone was full of admiration. Chapter 755. He's that awesome? He didn't do anything, but people helped him kill people? He didn't have any background, and he didn't show any martial arts realm, but there were countless people begging him? Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. He even wanted to predict the future. But it was just a thought. So what if he could predict the future? If he wasn't strong, it wouldn't be of much use. Even if he helped experts like the Xuanmiao Empress to predict the future and find his location, in the end, it would be good as long as he became stronger than anyone else. Moreover, Wang Kai needed to use his lifespan to predict the future. At his current realm, Wang Kai didn't even know how much he needed to predict the future. Even if it didn't affect him that much, Wang Kai wasn't willing to use his lifespan to help others predict the future. Of course he's powerful. He's so powerful that he has friends in the star field, but he's also so powerful that he has enemies everywhere. The Xuanmiao Empress smiled faintly. Wang Kai naturally understood the double meaning of her word. When one predicted the future, there would be people who would help and people who would be offended. For example, the Xuanmiao Empress in front of him looked as if she wanted the Tianji elder to die. Similarly, Wang Kai also wanted the Tianji elder to die. Because of the Tianji elder, he was now in a situation where he was being watched by the Xuanmiao Empress. Humph, it's only temporary. I don't want to kill him now. I'll let him live for a few more days. After I've dealt with the affairs of the Transcending Heaven Church, I'll only need to flick my finger to kill the old man of Tianji. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders. His expression was quite disdainful as he snorted. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the Star Origin realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the Star Origin realm. You've received 10 Star Origin points. Hearing this, the Xuanmiao Empress's beautiful eyes blinked slightly. She couldn't help but shake her head and laugh. She secretly felt that Wang Kai was quite interesting. They clearly could not find Elder Tianji, nor could they kill him, but they still spoke as if it was the truth. I will only give you 3 days. Have you thought about how to cherish these 3 days that were hard to come by? Mysterious Empress said lightly. It was not easy to come by. Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard this. T. Didn't he only give him 3 days because he sincerely wanted to help him? Benshao, I've always wanted to ask you a question. Why do you need to leave the ground to walk? Does it feel good to step on air? Or do you have mysophobia? Unwilling to walk on the ground? Or are you just pretending all the time? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and snorted in annoyance. Whoosh! The moment those words were spoken, Lady Mysterious Meow's beautiful eyes went blank. Her beautiful face was filled with anger and resentment. She never would have thought that Wang Kai would say such a thing. My Tao is the Tao of void travel. Since I started my cultivation, I have never walked on the ground with my feet. It's not that I'm obsessed with cleanliness, nor am I pretending. In short, it feels really good, Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Looking at her, if Wang Kai continued to harp on this question, she would definitely fly into a rage on the spot. Oh, then why don't you wear shoes? Does it feel good to bare your neck and jade feet? A cool breeze blows past and your soles turn cold. You don't need to do that thing between a man and a woman to reach climax? Wang Kai twisted his eyebrows and smiled in amazement. Bang! Plop! Suddenly, Xuanmiao Empress angrily slapped out with her jade-like hand, smashing Wang Kai to the ground. I will give you 3 days. I hope you can cherish it. After 3 days, whether you are sincere or not, I will take you away from here. Buzz! As soon as she finished speaking, Lady Mysterious Meow's figure disappeared into thin air. Only Wang Kai, who was wiping his face, was left. His eyes were filled with anger as he snorted coldly. Then listen to Benshao. No matter where you want to take Benshao, before that, you have to be prepared to be a servant. Otherwise, even if you die, Ben Shao will not help you. Don't ask why, because Ben Shao has always been aloof and arrogant. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. However, no matter what Wang Kai said, there was no response from Lady Mysterious Miao. It could be seen that Lady Xuanmiao now bore a grudge against Wang Kai. She was not even willing to talk to him. That's good. I don't have to follow you around. It's fine if you can't touch me, but you can't even talk to me. Sooner or later, I'll *CK you. I'll let you experience Ben Shao's unparalleled heroic figure. When he does things, he's so powerful. Wang Kai curled his lips, stood up, and snorted arrogantly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Bang! Plop! However, before Wang Kai could stand firm, he felt a heavy blow to the back of his head. He was slammed to the ground again. *CK. Lady Mysterious Miao, let me tell you. You can scold me, humiliate me, and hit me. But you can't touch my head. Do you know that this young master's mind is filled with the memories of countless eras of this world? If you lose your memory... Bang! Plop! Before Wang Kai could finish his words, the pain from the back of his head came again. As a result, Wang Kai, who was about to get up, was slammed to the ground again. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Cough, 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 cough. Fine, fine, you win. You win. Wang Kai flipped over and stood up. He looked around and wiped his face. Then, he patted his robe. He wanted to say something, but he did not dare to. The difference between the two of them was too great. When the attack came, he could not even detect it. Even if he tried to block it in advance, he would not be able to. What's the fuss about? Haven't you seen a man and a woman doing things? Are you jealous? Suddenly, he heard a cold snort full of disdain, which immediately caused Wang Kai to frown. He quickly turned around to look, and his expression suddenly froze. In the corner of the alley there was a man and a woman. They were naked and doing the most primitive human thing. Moreover, from the looks of it, they had been completely sealed by Lady Xuanmiao. Now that Xuanmiao Empress had broken the seal, she naturally noticed Wang Kai. Do your thing. If you talk nonsense with Ben Shao again, I will castrate you. Look at that woman. She has nothing. Do you think Ben Shao is happy to see that? Wang Kai curled his lips in disdain. He immediately put his hands behind his back and walked out of the alley. Listen to him. He insulted me. Why don't you help me? The woman covered her face, sobbing as she complained again and again. Slap. However, the man waved his hand and slapped the woman. She fell to the ground. Shut up. Even doing something can be despised by others. You still want me to help you vent your anger. He is obviously a martial artist. I am an ordinary person. I will really be castrated. The man snorted angrily. Chapter 756. Big Dumb Cat quickly transformed Ben Shao into an ordinary man. If he were to walk on the streets with his handsome face, he would attract too much attention. Wang Kai said with a shrug. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Inside the Buzhou Sky Palace, Lord Cat was so ashamed that he could not show his face. He covered his face with one paw and drew out the long knife on his back with the other paw. Wang Kai's narcissism was too much for him to bear. Buzz. In the blink of an eye, Wang Kai's appearance underwent an earth-shattering change. He was supposed to be handsome, but now he looked ordinary. He was the kind of person who would not be remembered in a crowd. Master, let me go out too. It's so stuffy here. That's right. Master, let me go out for a ride too. I want to go out too. Mu Sanyang could not help but make a request when she heard Zhu Beiji and Sha Wujing's voices. It was too boring and stuffy to stay in the Buzhou Sky Palace. Oh, big dumb cat, change their appearances too. Just make them look ordinary, Wang Kai said with a shrug. Buzz. Lord Cat did not object. He could not wait for them to go out so that he could have some peace and quiet in the Buzhou Sky Palace. Sigh, I used to be a handsome young man. Who would have thought that I would become like this? What a sin! When the three of them were released from the Buzhou Sky Palace by Wang Kai, Zhu Beiji conjured a mirror. He looked at them and immediately grimaced. They were so ugly that they looked even more ordinary than ordinary people. On the side, although Sha Wujing did not say anything to complain, it was not difficult to see from his expression that he was also very dissatisfied in his heart. From the way Sha Wujing appeared and his elegant appearance, one could tell that he was a person who cared a lot about his image. Mu Sanyang did not show any emotion. In fact, she was a little happy. Being able to walk around with a different face had indeed saved him a lot of trouble. Otherwise, with her charming appearance and figure from before, it would definitely cause a commotion. Huan we have some things to take care of. You can go shopping by yourself. Well, if you need anything, just shout, Brother Kai will do. Ben Shao will definitely arrive immediately and clear all obstacles for you. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 5th stage of the astral origin realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through. You have received 10 star source points. You want to pick up girls, right? You even said that you would remove all obstacles for me. Right now, I don't have any face or body. I'm just an ordinary, ugly woman. What obstacles can I have? Mu Sanyang sneered disdainfully. She then turned around and walked away. As for what Wang Kai wanted to do, she knew 99% of it. After all, after getting along with each other for a long time, it was true that Wang Kai loved to brag, but he also loved beautiful women. He was a pervert through and through. Moreover, he wanted to bring Zhu Beiji with him. Zhu Beiji had been with thousands of women at the same time. Now that he wanted to get rid of her and go out with her, it was obvious what he wanted to do. Is Ben Shao that bad? Also, does Ben Shao need to pick up girls personally? Beautiful women will always throw themselves at Ben Shao when they see him. Wang Kai curled his lips and snorted disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Wang Kai's face darkened when he heard the notification. Fortunately, the others could not hear it. Otherwise, he would have lost face. Kid, I've been with you for so long and I've never seen a woman throw herself at you. Don't brag so much, Elder Cat feels uncomfortable all over. Elder Cat was speechless and ridiculed. In response, Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled with an indifferent expression. What's so good about a beauty who throws herself at me? She's just a vase. Ben Shao is pursuing true love. Do you understand true love? Just like Jingxian. She loves me so much that she can't stop. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. No, that's not true love. It's a special circumstance that forced the two of you to be together. Elder Cat said disdainfully. Special circumstances are also Ben Shao's laws. Back then, it was because she loved this young master so much that she took the initiative to throw herself at me. Wang Kai coldly snorted with a dark face. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. I'll tell Jingxian about this in the future. Elder Cat stroked his long whiskers, his eyes full of mockery. Master, where are we going to have some fun? Zhu Beiji rubbed his nose, his eyes full of anticipation. Sha Wujing, who was by the side, was also looking at Wang Kai eagerly. Mu Sanyang had said that Wang Kai was going to bring him to pick up girls. Wasn't this the perfect opportunity? It's not dark yet. Let's find a tavern and have a drink. We'll move when it's dark. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled playfully. Move when it's dark? As soon as he said that, Zhu Beiji and Sha Wujing suddenly trembled. They looked at each other and saw the urgency in each other's eyes. When it was dark, what else could it be other than that kind of thing? Could it be that they were going to kill and rob? It was obviously impossible for Wang Kai. Wait, I want to go with you. Suddenly, just as Wang Kai and the other two were about to turn and leave, Mu Sanyang followed them from behind. After thinking about it, she was still worried about Wang Kai. Mu Sanyang herself was not sure about this feeling. In short, she was unwilling to let Wang Kai go to a brothel. Wang Kai's mouth twitched. He had planned to go somewhere to have some fun tonight. With such a person following him, he was afraid that he would not be able to do so. Looks like I have to think of a way to get her away. In a tavern, Wang Kai and the other three chose a table by the window. As they were ordinary looking, the surrounding diners naturally did not pay attention to them. Sir, what would you like to eat? As a waiter arrived in front of the table, Wang Kai and the other three looked at each other. In the end, their gazes all landed on Wang Kai's body. Bring out the best dishes and the best wine. If the table isn't big enough, then get me a bigger one. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and laughed heartily. Sir, this tavern does not accept credit. Hearing this, the waiter was in a dilemma for a while, sizing up Wang Kai's group. Whether it was their appearance or their clothes, they didn't look like rich people. Ha ha, I don't know where you came from. Is this your first time in a tavern? Every dish here is worth tens of millions of celestial stones. Suddenly, a man and two women sitting next to each other laughed out loud. Chapter 757. Bang! Zhu Beiji slammed the table and stood up. He pointed at the man and the two women angrily and scolded, "What the F***ck do you guys know? People with status, good looks, and power usually choose to live in seclusion. Even if they want to live in seclusion, they have to hide all their glory." That's right. Eldest senior brother is right. This bastard doesn't know anything and he still wants to act tough. He deserves a beating. Sha Wujing also mocked in an unfriendly tone. Swoosh. Such a rebuke immediately caused the faces of the man and the two women to stiffen. After they recovered, they immediately stood up. Shut up. A bunch of trash from the countryside. You guys are so ugly and you have the nerve to say that your general is hiding. Shameless. Get out. You are not welcome here. Bastards. If I don't beat you guys up today, I am not worthy of being Marshal Tianpeng. Buzz. Suddenly, Zhu Beiji waved his hand and took out his nine-toothed rake. He waved it and was about to attack the man and the two women. Do you think we are afraid of you? You are just an ordinary man from the countryside. Do you think you can do whatever you want after learning martial arts for a few days? Buzz. The man and the two women also took out their weapons. When they released their auras, Zhu Beiji and Sha Wujing were stunned. You guys are just at Heavenly Yuan stage? F***ck your grandpa. How dare you come out and act tough with that face of yours? Zhu Beiji grinned and laughed in disdain. Sha Wujing also couldn't help but smile. Even Mu Sanyang shook her head and laughed. She didn't expect these people's cultivation to be so low. Wait, why are you guys arguing? They are just trash at the Heaven Origin realm. Making a move on them is already giving them face. Isn't it just celestial stones? Speaking of which, this young master really doesn't have any. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled with a playful expression. Don't have? Swoosh. As soon as he said that, Zhu Beiji, Sha Wujing, and Mu Sanyang's faces turned as dark as ink. They had the urge to beat Wang Kai to death. After acting tough for so long, he actually did as he was told. He couldn't even afford the meal, so how could he order the best dishes and wine? Ha 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 ha. In an instant, under the lead of the man and the two women, the surrounding diners also began to jeer and laugh. They all despised Wang Kai and the others. Even the waiter shook his head and smiled in disdain. He pointed at the door of the tavern and said, "Please, guests from the countryside?" "Humph, what are you all laughing at? We just forgot to bring them." Zhu Beiji snorted with a red face. At this point, he was not angry at all. Even if he could defeat any of the experts present, he would be too ashamed to do so. Moreover, fighting wouldn't solve the problem. The face that should be lost would be completely lost. Benshao indeed doesn't have any celestial stones, but Benshao has this. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and slammed his hand on the table. Everyone's laughter stopped abruptly when they saw this scene, and all of them stared at Wang Kai's palm with surprise. They really wanted to know what he could take out. A doctrine crystal! Congratulations to the host for successfully obtaining a doctrine crystal. 1,000 bragging points have been consumed. Buzz. As Wang Kai removed his palm, there was a colorful crystal that was the size of a baby's fist on the table. It was shining brightly. This, God, it's actually a doctrine crystal. F***CK. A doctrine crystal is worth 100 million celestial stones. Who are they? How can they be so generous? A doctrine crystal is something that only the top 100 forces are qualified to possess. In an instant, the surrounding crowd stood up and shouted in shock. When they looked at Wang Kai and the others again, they were trembling in fear and their faces were pale. "Waiter, the bill." "I'll pay too." In an instant, the originally lively tavern was filled with people who hurriedly paid their bills and left. They didn't even dare to look back as they were afraid that Wang Kai would interrogate them. At the same time, those experts were secretly regretting their actions. If they hadn't ridiculed them earlier, they might have been able to befriend them. Even if they couldn't befriend them, they wouldn't have offended them. "All of you, stop right there. Did I, old pig, say that you can leave? Get your asses back here." Zhu Beiji waved his 9-toothed rake and bellowed. Immediately, he released waves of suppressive might. Buzz. F***CK. What realm is this expert at? This heavenly Tao realm? That's not right. My grandfather is also at the heavenly Tao realm, but the feeling he gives me is even stronger than my grandfather. What realm is he at? Who are they? Those cultivators who wanted to leave the tavern were all subdued by Zhu Beiji without any resistance. All of them were trembling as they knelt on the ground. Their eyes were filled with despair. He was even stronger than a heavenly Tao realm expert. The moment he attacked, it was a doctrine crystal. Putong. 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 The man and the two women were also scared out of their wit. They were like mice that had seen a cat as they knelt on the ground. "Senior, please spare my life. I was blind. I just invited these two women from the Moon Lake with a huge sum of money. I haven't touched them yet, so I'm giving them to you." The man swallowed his saliva and said with a trembling voice. After saying that, the man didn't feel ashamed at all. He couldn't compare in terms of wealth. The difference in cultivation was like heaven and earth. No one would feel embarrassed when meeting such an expert. "Sir, please spare my life. I'm a performer from the Moon Lake. If you can let us sisters go, the Moon Lake Lord will thank you. Yes, in return, I'm willing to serve you for a night." Upon hearing the words of the two women, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched. First, they used the Moon Lake Lord to threaten him. Then, they used the honey trap to tempt him. Using both the carrot and the stick. This Moon Lake was rather interesting. Even two insignificant performers were so quick-witted. However, before Wang Kai could say anything, Mu Sanyang couldn't sit still anymore. She waved her hand and slapped out. "Scram!" she shouted angrily. Bang! Bang! Wada! In an instant, the two women were sent flying out of the tavern with blood spurting out of their mouth. In fact, even that man was shaken to the point of tumbling several times and vomiting blood repeatedly. Such a situation immediately caused the man to be extremely shocked. He also did not expect that this ugly-looking woman would actually have such a powerful cultivation. "Hey, master's wife, what are you doing? Master doesn't want them, but I want them. Ahem, old Shah wants them too." Swoosh. As his voice faded, Zhu Beiji and Sha Wujing hurriedly leaped out of the tavern. They directly carried the two heavily injured women on the ground and left with one in each of their arms. "If all teachers are like you, I'm afraid they're finished." Mu Sanyang scolded angrily. Wang Kai rubbed his nose when he heard that. He felt a little awkward for a moment, but for the sake of his reputation, he said bluntly, "They have their own personal freedom. What does it have to do with Benshao? Besides, they called you master's wife. Do you think you're Benshao's wife? There are many who want to be Benshao's wife. If you want to be, you'll have to consummate your marriage first." Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000,000 experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Chapter 758. Mu Sanyang glared at him and tried her best to suppress her anger. She said in a low voice, "Restore my original appearance." Restore her original appearance? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and looked at her with admiration. He gave her a thumbs up and praised, "Not bad, not bad. You finally found your conscience. You want to restore your original appearance so that you can consummate your marriage with Benshao? Alright, Benshao will fulfill your wish. Big dumb cat, restore her." Buzz. In the Buzhou Sky Palace, Lord Cat stroked his long whiskers in disdain. He did not say anything and waved his paw to remove Mu Sanyang's illusion. Heavens! There is such a beauty! She's so beautiful! So beautiful! In an instant, when the charming Mu Sanyang was restored, the surrounding cultivators were all shocked and stared at her with lustful eyes. There were even some who were drooling from their mouth. Mu Sanyang's charm was too strong. Not to mention men, even women would be infatuated with her. Did you see that? There are countless people in Tianzhou who want me to be their master's wife. Who do you think you are? Mu Sanyang pointed her finger at Wang Kai and scolded him. Then, she swayed her body and left the tavern. Moreover, the swaying posture caused all the cultivators to be stupefied as they looked at it. If they could spend a night with Mu Sanyang, even if they died the next day, they would still agree, right? Good. Good job, Mu Sanyang. Wang Kai's face darkened and the veins on his forehead bulged. He did not expect Mu Sanyang to restore her original appearance to do this. It was blatant contempt. What are you looking at? If you don't want to die, get out of here. Now. Wang Kai snorted in an unfriendly tone. Swoosh. Hearing this, everyone immediately came back to their senses and immediately fled without any explanation. Senior, in my eyes you are the most handsome man. There are many women who want to be with you in Tianzhou. You don't have to do this for that beauty. The man who was knocked down by Mu Sanyang saw that Wang Kai had let the others go and felt even more uneasy. He quickly went up to Wang Kai to flatter him. However, at the end of his words, Wang Kai's complexion turned even more ashen and ugly. That beauty? F*CKU. Bang. Blah. Crack. In an instant, under Wang Kai's slap, the man's body was sent flying out of the tavern, smashing through the windows of the tavern and rolling down the street. Serves you right. Who told you to act so pretentious? Pretentious? Do you know that there is no limit? Isn't it just because he's filthy rich that he found 2 entertainers from Moon Lake? Do you have to be so pretentious? What's to be so? Shit. I almost lost my life because of you. Bang. Bang bang. When the cultivators who had just left saw the man fall on the street, they all rushed up with angry faces and beat him up. The man's face was unrecognizable and his whole body was twisted. I won't. I won't act pretentious anymore, bang. The man's breath was extremely weak as he stuttered. In the end, his head tilted to one side and he died on the spot. If he had the chance to do it all over again, he would never act pretentious again. What are you looking at? Why aren't you bringing up the best dishes and wine? In the tavern, only Wang Kai and the waiter were left. After what had just happened, the waiter was so scared that he fell to the ground. When he heard Wang Kai's shout, he quickly swallowed his saliva and bowed down to prepare the food. Haha, why are you so angry? If you are in a bad mood and want to vent, how about I invite you to the Moon Lake to play? Suddenly, with a chuckle, Wang Kai saw a young man who looked only about 20 years old inexplicably appear in front of the table. He was wearing a purple robe and holding a golden fan. His handsome face was filled with a gentle smile as he looked at Wang Kai. Purple robe, golden fan. Seeing this, Wang Kai frowned. His eyes narrowed into slits as he sized him up. He smiled faintly. You have a high level of cultivation. You appeared in front of Ben Shao without making a sound. Haha, so. Third in the Tianzhou. The young man nodded and smiled. Third in the Tianzhou. Such words made Wang Kai's heart skip a beat. The Xuanmiao Empress he knew was in the Tianzhou. She was in the Star King realm. Plus, the Xuanmiao Empress once said that in the current Tianzhou, her fighting ability was number 1. However, this person claimed to be number 3. He did not know when he had appeared. There was also the group of experts from the Sky Reaching School who had just returned. The strongest one was at the 4th star realm. Other forces, such as the Empyrean Palace, the Sky Martial Divine Palace, and the Netherworld Underworld, could not guarantee that there would be experts at the same level. If so, this person still dared to claim to be number 3. At the very least, he would not be weaker than a 4th star realm expert, right? Wang Kai thought to himself, but he was not afraid. Not to mention that he had the Xuanmiao Empress by his side to protect him. Even if he did not have her, he would not be afraid. At worst, he would die and be revived. Kid, you are quite good at showing off, aren't you? Ben Shao was just being polite. As for your whereabouts, Ben Shao had already expected it. If he wanted to kill you, it would only take him a breath. He did not stop you because he wanted to see what you wanted to do. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 6th grade of the Celestial Origin Realm. Oh, that is natural. I have long heard of Brother Wang's cultivation. No matter if it is the Fan Province, the Immortal Martial Domain, or even the 8 Decilaces, you are a famous figure. I am truly impressed. The young man squinted his eyes and smiled. His tone was filled with sarcasm. Although it sounded like a compliment, his tone was clearly filled with disdain and disdain. However, Wang Kai wasn't thinking about this right now. Not only did this person know about him in the Fan Province, he also knew about the Immortal Martial Domain and the 8 Decilaces. In the lower realms, he had never heard of, seen, or even sensed the existence of an expert of that caliber. In the Sky Province, there should be no way to go down. Even if there is only a slim chance of survival. Since that is the case, where did you find out about Ben Shao? Did that old bastard Tianji Laozi tell you? Wang Kai said with a cold expression. Old bastard Tianji Laozi. Such words caused the young man's eyelids to twitch violently. Although he already knew that Wang Kai's personality was like this, hearing it with his own ears and seeing it with his own eyes, he couldn't help but be speechless. No, I came here because a friend asked me to. Oh, rather than a friend, it would be better to say that it was his fiancée who asked me to come. Therefore, I know everything about Brother Wang like the back of my hand. I am also very grateful to Brother Wang for taking care of my fiancée all this time. The young man fanned himself with a cold smile. Fiancé. She knew everything about him. Wang Kai's pupils shrank when he heard this. There were only a few people in the Sky Province who knew about him in such detail. Moreover, they were all his close female friends. Brat, you are quite daring. Wang Kai's eyes darkened. His tone was filled with killing intent. Chapter 759. Haha, Brother Wang, please don't be angry. I am Zi Kuan from the Archosaur star in the Purple Gold region. I am here to pass a message on behalf of Miss Li. Zi Kuan smiled faintly. He was not bothered by Wang Kai's murderous words. Miss Li? Could it be Li Lingxian? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows. He did not expect Zi Kuan's fiancée to be Li Lingxian. Logically speaking, Li Lingxian should be cultivating in one of the forces in the Tianzhou. Since that was the case, how did Zi Kuan, who was from the Purple Gold region, know her? What message did she ask you to pass on? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered. He wanted to see what Zi Kuan was up to. Yes, she asked me to tell you that the Tianzhou is not suitable for you. Go back to the Fan province. Ha 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 ha. Zi Kuan suddenly laughed out loud. Bang. Plop. However, just as his voice sounded out, Wang Kai suddenly made his move and directly slapped the laughing Zi Kuan, who was caught off guard and fell to the ground. Who the hell are you talking to? Li Lingxian loves Ben Xiao so much that she can't stop thinking about him. She misses Ben Xiao almost every night. How can she be your fiancé? Also, if she really asked you to pass on the message, Ben Xiao will not let you live. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled faintly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Li Lingxian naturally knew his temper. Since that was the case, she asked Zi Kuan to pass on such a disdainful message. Her motive was self-evident. However, that little girl believed in him. She really thought that he was so awesome that he could kill Zi Kuan, who was not weaker than a 4th-star realm elite. However, Wang Kai also understood that Li Lingxian's words were ambiguous. If he could not kill Zi Kuan, he would naturally choose to return to the Fan province to avoid being killed by Zi Kuan. After all, Zi Kuan didn't want Li Lingxian to keep thinking about him. If he could kill them, he would naturally kill Zi Kuan. At that time, he would also go and rescue Li Lingxian. She didn't come personally to deliver the message, which means that she has no choice but to say those words. It's a reminder, and it's also a hint to kill Zi Kuan. This little girl's skin is really fierce. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes as he thought to himself. Bastard! How dare you! Bang! Plop! Zi Kuan stood up and was about to loudly berate, but before he could finish speaking, he was once again smashed onto the ground by an indescribable power. Who was it? Aren't you afraid that the violet gold starfield? Bang! Crack! Tragedy played out once again. This time, Zi Kuan was in an even more miserable state. His back was directly blasted apart, causing his flesh and blood to roll out. Seeing this scene, the corner of Wang Kai's mouth could not help but twitch fiercely. Zi Kuan did not know who did it, but he was very clear in his heart. But it was strange. Why would the Xuanmiao Empress take the initiative to attack? Other than Ben Xiao and you, who else could it be? Brat, don't think that just because you have a little bit of cultivation, you can act pretentious in front of Ben Xiao. When Ben Xiao once destroyed countless star regions with a flick of his finger, you weren't even born yet. Wang Kai shrugged and sneered with a disdainful expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Hearing this, Zi Kuan was so angry that he immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. Naturally, he did not believe Wang Kai's nonsense. That power just now was not displayed by Wang Kai at all. As a 4th-star realm expert, if he could not even realize this, then wouldn't he be a piece of trash? No matter who you are, since you are so disrespectful to me, the purple gold star region will definitely not forgive you, cough cough. Zikuan stood up and tightly clutched his chest. The corner of his mouth was full of blood as he coldly snorted. Slap. However, just as these words left his mouth, Wang Kai flipped his hand and slapped him across the face, causing his body to shake violently as the flesh on his face was smashed to pieces. Bastard! Bastard! If I don't kill all of you, I, Zikuan, am called the #1 in Archosaur star in vain. Plop! As a wave of heavy pressure swept over, Zikuan's figure was directly sent flying out of the tavern. TSK, who the hell is this? Another person who wants to act pretentiously? Damn, she is a good match for that brat. They are even lying together. However, this guy is still acting like a dog. He doesn't seem to be dead yet. Who cares? He is just a *T pretentious criminal. When Zikuan heard the insults from the surrounding cultivators, he was so angry that he was lying on the ground. He gritted his teeth so hard that they made cracking sounds. In particular, there was a young man's corpse lying beside him. The young man's eyes were wide open and he was staring at Zikuan. Apparently, he had died with his eyes wide open. Bastard! Plop! Zikuan was so angry that he fainted on the spot. Ever since he had started cultivating, he had never been so humiliated. Why didn't you ask Benshao to kill him? In the tavern, Wang Kai frowned as he spoke with a displeased tone. If you want to kill him, you have to use your own strength. I am afraid that you will be killed by him. If that happens, who will help me? Xuanmiao Empress said flatly. Whoosh. When Wang Kai heard what Xuanmiao Empress had said, he squinted his eyes and looked at Zikuan, who was lying on the ground and unconscious. He had a million thoughts in his mind, and he wanted to kill him on the spot. No. If I don't kill him, I will not feel good. Whoosh. Having said that, Wang Kai was about to get up and jump down from the tavern. However, just as he was about to move, his body froze and he could not move at all. Have you thought it through? If you kill him here, all the top powers in the purple gold star zone will come here. By then, you will not be able to stay in Tianzhou. Anyone who is related to you will die with you. Moreover, even if you escape to the extraterritorial starry sky, you will not be able to escape from the top powers in Archosaur star. Xuanmiao Empress said flatly. Anyone who is related to me in Tianzhou? When Wang Kai heard that, he frowned and sneered disdainfully. Do they know who is related to Benshao? Mu Sanyang? As long as she stays by Benshao's side, no one will be able to hurt her. Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have received 1 million experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Since Zikuan knows about what happened to you in the lower plane, he might know about other things. Are you sure that Li Lingxian did not tell him? Xuanmiao Empress asked flatly. Let go of Benshao. So be it. However, Benshao does not want to let him go. Now, I can only spare his life for now. However, he has to be under Benshao's nose every day. Wang Kai snorted unkindly. Buzz. As the pressure dissipated, Wang Kai jumped down from the tavern and came before Zikuan, who was unconscious. He waved his hand and put Zikuan into the Buzhou Sky Palace. Big stupid cat, teach him a good lesson. Let him taste all kinds of torture, as long as he's still breathing. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent smile. Chapter 760. Humph, Cat Lord will naturally take care of such a small matter for you. I'll definitely let him live a life worse than death. However, you have to sneak into the sky-reaching church as soon as possible and bring me the real body of the sky-reaching tower, Lord Cat said as he stroked his long whiskers in the Buzhou Sky Palace. The real body of the sky-reaching tower? Wang Kai squinted his eyes when he heard that. However, he did not mind and nodded. Benshao will take care of this matter. Won't it be a piece of cake? Don't talk about taking the Tower of Babel. Even annihilating the transcending heaven church would be as easy as blowing off dust. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said with a smile, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000,000 experience points and 1,000 bragging points." Cat Lord did not respond at all. He was well aware of Wang Kai's current cultivation level and was too lazy to listen to his bragging. "Master, why are you standing outside? What happened just now?" Wang Kai frowned when he heard Zhu Beiji's voice. The woman who was taken away by Zhu Beiji was no longer by his side. "Are you done? Are you satisfied? Are you satisfied?" Wang Kai squinted his eyes and smiled mockingly. Zhu Beiji smiled and rubbed his hands in embarrassment. "Master, before I could do anything, she was taken away by the people from Moon Lake. Even I could not defeat them." Swoosh. As soon as this was said, Wang Kai's expression suddenly froze. Zhu Beiji, a peak 9th grade star guard, was defeated. Furthermore, he had been defeated by someone from the Moon Lake's brothel. Where is Lao Sha? Where is he? Wang Kai's face changed slightly as he asked. Ahem, Zhu Beiji felt even more ashamed. He shrugged his head and said, "Someone took him away. He told me to come back and tell you that if you want to go back to Lao Sha, you have to go to the Moon Lake at night." He was kidnapped. Zhu Beiji was only here to pass on a message. F***ck. Such a situation caused the corner of Wang Kai's mouth to twitch fiercely, and black lines appeared on his forehead. "Who told you to act tough? Who asked you to be perverted? Who told you to be unable to walk when you saw a beauty? Now you know the pain, right? No wonder Tang Sanzang is always captured by demons. With a disciple like you, it would be weird if he didn't get captured." Wang Kai said speechlessly. What does Tang Sanzang being captured by a demon have anything to do with me? Who told me to eat his flesh and become immortal? If it wasn't for Guanyin Bodhisattva stopping me, I would have eaten him myself. Zhu Beiji snorted unhappily. "You're awesome." When Wang Kai heard this, he gave Zhu Beiji a thumbs up. He finally understood Zhu Beiji's true nature. "You go into the Buzhou Heavenly Palace first and help the big dumb cat entertain that wretch. Remember, keep him alive. Ben Shao wants to beat him up and have some fun." Wang Kai waved his hand and said with a headache, "All right, I, old pig, will definitely complete the task given to me by Master." Surprisingly, Zhu Beiji was extremely happy this time. There was even a look of joy in his eyes. When he saw this, Wang Kai was even more speechless. Zhu Beiji's cowardice could not be changed. It must be because the expert in the Moon Lake was extremely powerful that he wanted to hide and not show himself. "Get in." Wang Kai shook his head helplessly. He flipped his hand and sent Zhu Beiji into the Buzhou Heavenly Palace. He turned to look at the sky and smiled faintly. "Ben Shao wants to see what kind of monster is in the Moon Lake. It's better not to go. The Master of the Moon Lake is a branch of the Holy Moon sect in the Mystic Moon Star Zone. Its strength is not weaker than the Purple Gold Star Zone. Similarly, it is not weaker than the 9 Heaven Star Zone," Lady Xuanmiao said faintly. Swoosh. When he heard this, Wang Kai's pupils shrank. 9 Heaven Star Zone? Isn't that the star zone where Lady Xuanmiao is? If it is not weaker than the 9 Heaven Star Zone, it means that the Holy Moon sect also has an expert that is not weaker than Lady Xuanmiao. What's wrong? Are you afraid? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and asked playfully. Haha, it's nothing more than being afraid. It's just that it has nothing to do with each other. If you agree to leave Tianzhou with me now, I can destroy the Moon Lake in Tianzhou, Lady Xuanmiao said faintly. What a big tone. However, it was also because of this that Wang Kai's guts had suddenly grown. If Lady Xuanmiao could destroy the Moon Lake in Tianzhou, it meant that the expert in the Moon Lake was not at the same level as Lady Xuanmiao. As long as he could not resist Lady Xuanmiao, he would have her by his side to protect him. Wouldn't he be able to act tough however he wanted? Haha, Ben Shao is really a genius. He is an excellent schemer. Fortunately, Ben Shao does not like to play politics. Otherwise, how could Tianzhou and even the Star Zone survive? Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said with a smile, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th grade Celestial Source Realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 7th grade. You have received 10 Celestial Source points. Wang Kai, don't think that I can take a blow for you. Although you won't die, the outcome will not change. You will be severely injured and can't be saved. It is very possible." Lady Xuanmiao snorted coldly. His tone was clearly mixed with annoyance. Naturally, she could guess what Wang Kai was planning. Ben Shao was just bragging. Why do you take it seriously? Also, if you don't save Lao Sha, how can Ben Shao be willing to leave Tianzhou with you? Even if you take Ben Shao away by force, there is no benefit. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said indifferently. Regarding this, Xuanmiao Empress remained silent and did not reply. "Get over here and save me." Suddenly, Wang Kai was startled by a feminine voice. "Mu Sanyang?" Whoosh! Immediately, Wang Kai's figure disappeared. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the place where Mu Sanyang was. "What are you looking at? Why don't you kill these bastards quickly?" On the street, Mu Sanyang was surrounded by more than a dozen practitioners. Around her, there were many practitioners who gathered to watch the show. "Sigh, it is a pity that such a beauty has caught the eye of the son of the city governor of Heaven Connect City. I heard that the young city governor has a lot of wives and concubines. There are nearly 1,000 of them. Moreover, every woman who has slept with him will mysteriously die a few days later. Quiet down. Do you want to die?" Hearing the whispers of the crowd, Wang Kai squinted his eyes and looked at the dozen practitioners. The young man in the lead could not help but touch his chin and laugh loudly. Such ugly fools want to taint Ben Shao's woman. Ha! Today, Ben Shao will destroy Heaven Connect City. Whoosh! As Wang Kai's voice fell, everyone's eyes instantly turned to him. Chapter 761. Where did this hothead come from? How dare he threaten to destroy Heaven Connect City? He doesn't look old. He must have just come out to train. What a pity. He could have provoked anyone, but he had to provoke the young city lord. Young people don't know any better. They've been boasting too much. It's time to teach them a lesson. In an instant, many of the cultivators in the city mocked him coldly. They even took the initiative to make way for him. They all wanted to see where this young man got the courage to threaten to tear down Heaven Connect City in front of the young city lord. Of course, there were even more cultivators who wanted to see how Wang Kai was killed. Who are you? In Heaven Connect City, there have been people who have been enemies with me before, but none of them have survived. Are you sure that what you said just now is true? It's not too late to change your words and kneel on the ground to admit your mistake. The young city lord turned around and smiled coldly. However, Wang Kai ignored him. With his hands behind his back, he looked at Mu Sanyang and smiled faintly. "Why are you still standing there? Come over here." Swoosh! Such words immediately caused everyone's expression to be startled. Even the young city lord was stunned on the spot. How dare he ignore the young city lord? He even wants the girl that the young city lord values to go to him? However, when Mu Sanyang swayed her charming body and walked toward Wang Kai, everyone's expression changed again. Some of them even showed a mocking look. This was the first time they had encountered a situation where the young city lord was humiliated. Do you see it now? She's Ben Shao's woman. You bastards want to get your hands on her? How many heads do you bring with you? Do you have enough to lose? Bang! Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and sneered. He stretched out his arms and held Mu Sanyang in his arms. Feeling the softness and elasticity of her chest, his heart was filled with ecstasy. Damn bastard, for the sake of saving me, I'll let you take advantage of me. Mu Sanyang's head gently pressed on Wang Kai's shoulder. Her beautiful eyes were overflowing with lust as she thought to herself. Bastard! Men, quickly kill this brat. When the young city lord saw this scene, he suddenly roared angrily. He waved his hand and ordered the dozen guards to attack Wang Kai. TSK, it's just a few trash at the celestial realm and heavenly Tao realm. To think you have the nerve to show off in front of this young master. Scram! Wang Kai sneered disdainfully and waved his hand in contempt. Buzz! Bang 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 bang! Bang! As the figures of those practitioners disappeared, everyone was dumbfounded on the spot. How can he have such a cultivation? He can beat the young city lord's guards in the heavenly path realm and divine realm with just one move. Everyone swallowed a mouthful of saliva. They were shocked by the scene in front of them. He couldn't believe that this young man could be so powerful. Who are you? I'm the young city lord of heaven-reaching city. My father is the grand elder of heaven-reaching sect. If you don't want to die, kill yourself quickly. The young city lord was also shocked when he saw this. His face was pale, and his voice trembled as he shouted loudly. At the same time, his figure was constantly retreating. Plop! In the end, he was careless and fell to the ground. He was shocked by Wang Kai. F***ck, with such little courage, you have the nerve to come out and pick up girls. Don't you feel ashamed? Even Ben Shao is ashamed of you. And your father, the grand elder of heaven-reaching sect, TSK, I'm not afraid to tell you that even if the sect master of heaven-reaching sect comes, he will have to kneel down to Ben Shao and shout that he is convinced. Wang Kai curled his lips and sneered with contempt. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Whoosh! As soon as his voice fell, everyone was shocked. They thought that he was a hothead, but his cultivation was so terrifying. Moreover, he dared to insult the sect master of heaven-reaching sect in the main city under the jurisdiction of heaven-reaching sect. Did he not want to live anymore? Or did he really have the ability to not be afraid of heaven-reaching sect? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Even Empyrean Palace, the first among the 3,000 forces, would not be so brazen as to say that they would kill the sect master of heaven-reaching sect. The young city lord was not a fool, and he immediately believed in his guess. No matter who you are, since you have bragged so much, you should be prepared to be executed. However, if you admit your mistake now, give me your woman, and kneel down to break your limbs. Ben Shao will spare your life. The young city lord sneered. In his opinion, Wang Kai was just bragging, and he was just a hothead with some cultivation. In fact, it was exactly so. For Wang Kai, who felt uncomfortable all over if he did not brag for a day, even his friends did not know which words were true and which were false. Little bastard, you really have to die to repay the heavens. How dare you threaten to rob Ben Shao's woman? Forget it, you can go to hell. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled contemptuously. Whoosh! As soon as his voice fell, Wang Kai waved his hand, and a transparent palm print flew out and directly imprinted on the young city lord's chest. With a cracking sound, the young city lord's body directly exploded on the spot, turning into a rain of blood, sprinkling on the ground. When everyone saw this scene, they all swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Especially the scarlet bloodstains on the ground, it caused their hearts to beat violently without stopping. They could not believe that the dignified young city lord was killed so easily. If you don't have the strength, why are you pretending here? You're always talking about your father. Do you think the world of cultivation is a peaceful world? Is it useful to compare to your father? Idiot! Wang Kai curled his lips and snorted disdainfully. Although he said so, looking at the appearance of the surrounding cultivators, it was really useful to compare to his father. Bastard! Who is it? How dare you kill my son? Suddenly, an astonishingly loud roar approached from afar. That frightening oppressive might shook the entire heavenly reaching school, causing it to sway endlessly. A celestial source realm expert. Wang Kai suddenly raised his eyebrows and narrowed his eyes, looking at the distant sky with a playful expression. Naturally, he could sense that the expert was still on his way to sky-reaching city. It's the City Lord. The City Lord is here. This kid will definitely die. Yes, the City Lord is the Grand Elder of the Sky-reaching Church. I heard that he just came back with the sect leader from a mysterious place. His cultivation is unfathomable. Oh, where is the young man who killed the young City Lord? As the discussion reached the end, they suddenly realized that Wang Kai was nowhere to be seen. What the f***ck? He ran away? Chapter 762. Why are you running away? Weren't you acting cool just now? If you stay there, you'll be killed by the future lord of Tongtian City. In the void, Mu Sanyang pushed Wang Kai away, her beautiful eyes filled with disdain. Wang Kai shrugged and said casually, "If you kill the Grand Elder, other elders will come. If you kill all the elders, the hierarch will come. If this continues, how can Ben Shao save your sister?" It was not yet time to openly fall out with the sky-reaching church. Otherwise, all his previous efforts would be in vain. Although he would not die with Xuanmiao Empress protecting him, he would not achieve his goal. Wang Kai did not believe that Xuanmiao Empress would help him repeatedly attack the sky-reaching church. "I'm sorry." Mu Sanyang's eyes darkened and she lowered her head, like a little girl who had made a mistake. "You know you're wrong? Why don't you make up for it?" Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said playfully, "Make up for it? How?" Mu Sanyang clenched her teeth. She knew that Wang Kai was up to no good, but she could not refuse him since he was trying so hard to save her sister. "It's very simple. Let's go back to the Buzhou Heavenly Palace first. This young master has an important matter to attend to. This matter will determine the success or failure of our infiltration into the Transcending Heaven Church," Wang Kai said with a serious look. Whoosh! Hearing this, Mu Sanyang's good impression of him disappeared in an instant. It sounded nice, but in the end, he just wanted to send her away so that he could go to Moon Lake to have some fun. Humph! Pervert! Send me to Buzhou Palace. I don't want to see you. Mu Sanyang gritted her teeth and scolded. Buzz! Wang Kai didn't hesitate at all. He waved his hand and sent the reluctant Mu Sanyang into Buzhou Heavenly Palace. If she followed him, how could he go to Moon Lake? Besides, Lao Sha was still being held captive there. Men are all like this. They like the new and hate the old. In order to get the new, they will abandon the old at any time. Xuanmiao Empress's indifferent voice suddenly came into his ears. It was not difficult to hear her disdain for Wang Kai from her tone. What new and old? Mu Sanyang is not Ben Shao's woman. I just said that I saved her. We haven't even consummated our marriage. Wang Kai curled his lips and snorted with dissatisfaction. Humph, consummating your marriage, Xuanmiao Empress said coldly. F***ck. What do you mean this young master is only SOSO? What did Ben Shao do to offend you? I didn't even say that you're this young master's woman, so why are you so anxious? Or are you infatuated with Ben Shao's heroic figure and want to be Ben Shao's woman? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and said in a mocking tone, "Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience points and 1,000 bragging points." Bang! Suddenly, Wang Kai's back seemed to have suffered a heavy blow, and his figure was directly slapped into the void. Humph, it seems that Ben Shao was right. Otherwise, why would you be so angry? However, I'm sorry, Benshao is also a person of status. Such a powerful Benshao will not accept the love of a woman. Even if you are Xuanmiao Empress, you are not qualified. Benshao will not like you. Wang Kai, who fell from the sky like a meteor, had an extremely calm expression on his face as he laughed continuously. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000,000 experience points and 1,000 bragging points. The gap between him and Xuanmiao Empress was too great. It would be a fool's dream to stop his fall. Since he could not resist, he could only enjoy it. Then you can fall to the ground and repent. Bang! Rumble! Following Xuanmiao Empress's angry and cold voice, Wang Kai's figure also smashed into the ground. Under the huge impact, a deep hole was formed in the ground. What's going on? Did something fall down? Could it be a treasure? No, I just saw a person fall. Nonsense. How can a person fall and create such a huge pit and cause such a huge commotion? That's right. If it was really a person, even a heavenly Tao realm cultivator would not be able to withstand such a terrible fall. Moreover, it must have been hit by an even stronger expert to cause such a commotion. In an instant, many cultivators rushed over. They stood at the edge of the deep pit and looked down. Ahem, damn it! Luckily Benshao has an invulnerable body. Otherwise, if it were anyone else, they would be crippled even if they did not die from Xuanmiao Empress's fall. That bitch is too cruel. Wang Kai got up with an angry look on his face and raised his hand to wipe the dirt off his face. F***CK. It's really a person. He's fine. Unharmed. How is this possible? Could it be that he fell from the sky on his own accord? This is he training his physique. Hearing the exclamations of the crowd, Wang Kai's mouth twitched. Who would train their physique like that? Wasn't he just looking for trouble? Sigh, after cultivating for hundreds of millions of years, I have reached the pinnacle. It's unfortunate that I have no opponent. Even if I seek death, it's not enough to fulfill my wish. How sad. How lamentable. As Wang Kai's figure slowly floated up into the sky, he spoke words that made everyone speechless. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000,000 experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Pretentious prick. Damn it. After all this fuss, he fell on his own accord and purposely caused such a commotion. If you want to die, just slit your own throat. Even a heavenly soldier realm expert would not die after falling on his own accord. Ignore him. He's just a pretentious prick who likes to brag. When everyone heard this, their faces darkened as they cursed a few times. Then, they turned around and dispersed. Haha, blame it on Benshao for being too strong. He can't die even if he wants to. No one will believe me even if I say it. The world is so cold. Wang Kai shrugged and shook his head as he sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000,000 experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 8th grade Celestial Origin realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next grade. You have received 10 Celestial Origin points. Convert all the Celestial Origin points into experience, Wang Kai urged. Congratulations to the host for receiving 900,000 experience points and 90 Celestial Origin points. If you really want to die, I can grant you your wish. However, before that, you must complete my task. Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard this. If Xuanmiao Empress really attacked, he would definitely die again. Moreover, he would not be able to resist at all. Benshao was just bragging. Do you have to be so serious? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and snorted in dissatisfaction. Haha, I was just joking. You don't have to be so serious. I really want to kill you, but I won't. Otherwise, you would already be dead. Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Chapter 763. Since when did the Xuanmiao Empress know how to joke? Previously, he had always been cold and aloof, high and mighty. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and was secretly surprised. He could not help but rub his nose and sigh. It seems that Benxiao's charm is indeed powerful. He can even make the Xuanmiao Empress learn how to joke. This kind of charm that can infect others is really a sin. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Then what kind of person do you think I am? Why can't I joke? Also, what does it have to do with you? The Xuanmiao Empress smiled indifferently. The mockery in her tone was extremely obvious. High and mighty, pure as ice and jade, indifferent and emotionless. Unlike a woman of the mortal world, who is untainted by the mortal world, she is like the bright crescent moon hanging high in the sky, cold and aloof. It would be better to say that she is just admiring herself. Ha! Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with an indifferent expression. Whoosh! Hearing such words to describe herself, the Xuanmiao Empress, who was in the void, was stunned. Her beautiful eyes stared at Wang Kai with surprise and amazement. Even if the description was a little exaggerated, the words were not something that a hooligan like him would say. I didn't expect that a hooligan like you who only knows how to brag and pretend to be handsome would have read the books of the saint. This really surprised me. However, what you said is both right and wrong. Self-admiration is right, but everything else is wrong. The Xuanmiao Empress pursed her red lips and smiled with self-mockery. Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard this. He looked at her with disdain and said, "Bitch, how narcissistic are you? Self-admiration? Benxiao can praise you, but it's not up to you to say it." Bang! Plop! However, as Wang Kai expected, he was greeted with a heavy blow. His body fell from the sky and was slapped into the deep pit again. Benxiao was hit for telling the truth. This is unreasonable. It seems that it's time to change the heavenly rules that Benxiao set countless years ago. Wang Kai got up, shook his head and sighed. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Set the heavenly rules? You still want to change it? The Xuanmiao Empress's eyes were filled with disdain, but at the same time, there was a trace of amusement. There was no one else in the Tianzhou who could boast to this extent. When it's night to go to the Moon Lake, remember to be careful. Following the Xuanmiao her reminder to be careful. To be careful, to be careful to be careful. Sometimes, even if he wanted to be careful, he couldn't control himself. Alas, this young master is too awesome, too powerful, so invincible that no one can stop this young master's footsteps. No matter where I show off, I can show off beautifully and brilliantly. This kind of thing is really sad and others can't understand it. Wang Kai sighed with a rather emotional expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through the realm and reaching grade 9 astral source. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through the realm and obtaining 10 astral source. Host, Wang Kai occupation, Star Warrior realm, grade 9 astral source star technique, Nun star technique, Nun identification, Torch Dragon's Eye equipment, ever-changing fan star power, level 1 astral source, 10 physique, invulnerable guardian beast, Nun bragging points, 98,000 experience, 0600000. After hearing the notification and seeing the scene that appeared in his mind, Wang Kai casually glanced at it. Then, he used his mind to make it disappear. My experience points have increased to a whopping 6 million again. This also proves that I'll have to brag 6 times in the future if I want to break through the next realm. I'd better go to the Moon Lake earlier. It's just dark, it'll be easy. Wang Kai closed his eyes slightly and thought to himself, Buzz. As Wang Kai closed his eyes, the sky turned dark instantly. Such a situation also caused Xuanmiao to turn pale with fright. She wasn't shocked because the sky suddenly turned dark. It was because Wang Kai was the one who caused this phenomenon. The darkness previously and the tragic deaths of hundreds of thousands of cultivators in a certain city were also caused by you? Xuanmiao asked in a deep voice with a frown. Don't talk to Ben Shao. Ben Shao is going to close his eyes and go to the Moon Lake. Wang Kai waved his hand. Relying on his perception, he slowly stepped into the air. Xuanmiao blinked her beautiful eyes when she heard this. Her eyes were filled with excitement and other emotions. At first, she thought that the Tianji elder was playing with her when he said that Wang Kai was the fated one. But now, just by closing his eyes, he could make the sky turn dark. Such power was indeed worthy of her fated one. He would definitely be able to help her. Moon Lake. As the sky suddenly turned dark, the entire Tianzhou fell into panic and fear. But at the Moon Lake, no one panicked too much. Or rather, it was just a short period of panic. After that, it turned into joy and they rushed to the Moon Lake in group. Once night fell, the Moon Lake would become a paradise for countless cultivators in Heaven Connect City. It could be said that they really hoped that the sky would stay dark. At the same time, at the center of the lake, which was hundreds of miles wide, a huge ship suddenly lit up. Beautiful women in revealing clothes also appeared at the edge of the huge ship. They waved their jade-like hands and greeted the many cultivators who were walking on the water. No one knew that in the deepest part of the huge ship, in a room, there were two women with white veils covering their faces. They looked at each other with serious eyes. Sister, what happened? In front of the table, a woman in a purple dress asked softly with a pleasant voice. On the bed, the woman in a white dress sat. Her beautiful eyes looked at the night sky outside the window. She frowned and shook her head. I don't know. It's the same as before. The sky turns dark as soon as it wants to. Moreover, it's maintained for a longer time this time. Damn it. Originally, we wanted to rest. Who knew that the sky would suddenly turn dark? Those stinky men in the city would also come. We can't even not open our doors to do business. The woman in a purple dress said angrily. Her watery eyes were filled with anger. It could be seen that as night workers, they also did not want the sky to turn dark. Sister knows that you hate men. However, we came here from the mystic moon star with a mission. Don't ruin all of our plans because of a moment of anger. The woman in a white dress sitting on the bed said with eyes full of blame. Alright, Sister Qin, you're amazing. You like men the most. The woman in a purple dress called snorted with slight displeasure. Chapter 764. Don't mess around. Quickly call Sister Qi and Sister Shu over. We 4 sisters still have to secretly look for the person who answered the order. Qin said reproachfully. Hearing this, Qin Hua pouted, causing the purple veil to bulge. However, she still obeyed and nodded. She bowed slightly and walked out of the room. For the mystic moon sect, it's a good thing that the sky is dark, but if it's too dark and even the light of the moon is covered, then it's not a good thing. Qin shook her head and sighed. Damn it, there are at least 4 hours before the sky turns dark. In order to keep the Moon Lake open, Ben Shao has to close his eyes for another 4 hours. At the same time, Wang Kai, who had just stepped into the giant ship, curled his lips and cursed in a low voice in annoyance. With your power, if I could have it, I would really hope that the sky would stay dark. In this way, wouldn't it confirm your description? I'm like the cold moon hanging in the sky, admiring myself. Xuanmiao Empress smiled faintly. Moreover, her tone was extremely gentle, completely without the previous indifference. Such a contrast really caused the corner of Wang Kai's mouth to twitch. For a moment, he didn't know what was going on. Previously, her tone was still cold, but now it suddenly became so gentle. To be honest, Wang Kai really couldn't stand it. Are you in heat? Bang! Plop! Before Wang Kai finished speaking, his back was hit hard, so much so that his body directly smashed onto the deck of the giant ship. This caused many of the surrounding cultivators and the women of Moon Lake to look over in astonishment. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a blind person fall? If you look again, I'll make you all blind. Wang Kai curled his lips and sensed the surrounding gazes. He suddenly scolded in displeasure. Haha, little brother, you're in such a good mood. Even if you're blind, you still want to go to the brothel. The eyes are blind, but the heart isn't blind. If you can't see, it's fine as long as you can touch, right? Little brother? Ah. In an instant, the surrounding cultivators all laughed loudly. They did not notice at all that because of the word brothel, killing intent flashed in the eyes of the women on the boat. Cut the crap. Don't call a good place like Moon Lake a brothel. Do you have any culture at all? Do you still have any morals? Moon Lake is the most beautiful and clean place in Tongtian City, oh no, in the entire Tianzhou. In order to make everyone happy, they did not hesitate to suffer such humiliation. You guys, on the other hand, went from bad to worse. You deserve to die. Whoosh! As Wang Kai cursed loudly with righteous indignation, all the women's eyes lit up. They all stared at Wang Kai with appreciation and gratitude. Among them, there were many women who expressed their love for Wang Kai. Boring. I can't be bothered to argue with a blind man. When the cultivators saw this, they realized that they had already offended all the women of Moon Lake. They could only wave their hands and not dare to continue arguing. Otherwise, they would definitely be chased out of Moon Lake. Be careful, young master. Let me help you. Me too, me too. In an instant, under the incredulous gazes of the cultivators, almost all the beautiful women ran towards Wang Kai. Furthermore, their voices were gentle and their movements were careful as they surrounded Wang Kai in the middle. Such a beautiful thing had been taken away by a blind man. Damn it! If I had known earlier, I would have taken the opportunity to say a few words. Bastard, he actually used us to help himself. Damn it! Forget it. Since it has come to this, let's not anger the beauties anymore. Let's go hunt in the boat. Sigh. In the end, all the cultivators who were filled with anger could only sigh. They waved their hands and helplessly walked into the palace-like pavilion on the boat. Ah! Young master, don't scratch. Young master, let me help you. Don't move. Ah, young master, you're so naughty. Did you do it on purpose? Don't talk nonsense. Can't you feel that young master has no cultivation at all? I'm sure he came here on a small boat. We're just joking. Why are you so agitated? Young master. Oh, you touched me there. Hearing the shyness of the women and the ecstasy of his palm, Wang Kai's heart was blooming with joy. For the first time, he felt that pretending to be blind had some benefit. The system could hide his cultivation, but he couldn't see it. Moreover, he was surrounded by beauties. He could reach out his evil palm at will. Benchao is so smart. This is such a good opportunity. If I don't take advantage of it, when will I? Wang Kai squinted his eyes and laughed excitedly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1,000,000 experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Young master, you're so naughty. That. You can't touch there. You're still touching it. Following which, amidst the shouts and fake reprimands of the women, Wang Kai was escorted into the palace-like pavilion by hundreds of beautiful women. He's too King angry. Damn it. That brat must be pretending. It doesn't matter if he's pretending or not. He's taken all the good things. At the same time, the cultivators who had just arrived on the giant ship saw that all the women had left with Wang Kai. For a moment, a cold wind blew past, and it was extremely awkward. Elder sister, this person is quite interesting. Yes, I also think that he's very interesting. He actually didn't hesitate to go against the cultivators who came for the sake of all the sisters. In the depths of the giant ship, in a room, 4 women with peerless figures were gathered around a table. Their beautiful eyes were focused on a floating mirror at the center of the table as they discussed animatedly. The scene reflected in the mirror was that of Wang Kai, who was being escorted by hundreds of beautiful women. Interesting my ass. He's purposely pretending to be blind. He even tried to make a move on the sisters. How despicable! Qin Hua coldly reprimanded. Her jade-like hands were clenched so tightly that they turned white. Hearing this, Qin Qi and Qin Shu, who had just arrived, looked at each other with strange expressions. In the end, they looked at their elder sister, Qin Qin. He's indeed pretending to be blind. It's also difficult to detect his cultivation. If he doesn't have a treasure on him, then his cultivation must be higher than us 4 sisters. However, he's indeed very interesting. Regardless of whether he's pretending to be blind or not, he did speak up for us sisters and angered all the cultivators who came for him. Qin Qin frowned and smiled gently. Bang! He's indeed pretending to be blind. I'll go over and expose him. I'll beat him up and throw him into the lake. Qin Hua, who was ranked 4th, suddenly slammed the table. She immediately stood up and left the room aggressively. Elder sister, are we just going to let Sister Hua go over like this? Qin Qi said with a worried gaze. Qin Shu, who was at the side, was also hesitant. If she let Qin Hua go over and make a scene, it would inevitably arouse the other cultivators who came for him. After all, the Moon Lake never lost their temper at their guests, let alone use force. It's fine. Let her go. She knows what she's doing. Moreover, I also want to see how powerful this young master is. Who knows, he might be the person we're looking for. Qin Qin's curved eyebrows were like a painting as she laughed softly. Chapter 765. Inside the huge ship, Wang Kai was sitting at the round table happily. He was surrounded by hundreds of beautiful women who were laughing and chatting happily. It could be said that he was extremely carefree. Such a scene also caused the other cultivators to be secretly furious. Pairs of bloodshot eyes glared at Wang Kai as if they wanted to kill him. If looks could kill, Wang Kai would have died tens of thousands of times. Young master, what's your name? Come, young master, let me feed you grapes. Ah, what are you doing, young master? Under Wang Kai's demonic clutches, it could be said that the wind was blowing and the water was flowing. The feeling of drifting souls was also constantly accompanying them. Damn bastard! Damn brat! Son of a bitch! The surrounding cultivators were all secretly cursing. They originally thought that they would enter the pavilion and find other beauties to accompany them. However, who would have thought that because Wang Kai was surrounded by so many women, the other beautiful women in the pavilion also took the initiative to approach him. They were all in high spirit. Damn it! Are we here to watch his performance today? This brat is really too despicable. He must be severely punished. Severely punished? How can he be severely punished? Don't forget that the Moon Lake has a rule. Violence is not allowed. Sigh, looks like we came here for nothing today. Damn it, all the good things have been taken by this brat. Although many cultivators were angry, they could not do anything. Without the company of beauties, they could only drink in a corner and watch Wang Kai chatting and laughing with the other women. It could be said that they were extremely miserable. They wanted to leave, but they could not bear to. If they did not leave, they would still have to bear with it and watch. Why did he have to go through all this trouble for himself? Why are all of you crowding over there? Why aren't you quickly dispersing and drinking a few cups with the guests who came to the Moon Lake? Suddenly, as a pleasant voice was heard, it immediately caused the entire pavilion to become silent. It's the fourth young mistress, Miss Qin Hua. Fourth young mistress, please judge for us. That blind man is really despicable. He actually took all the prostitutes. Cough cough, all the women. Bullshit blind man, I think he must be pretending. Fourth young miss, please punish him severely. In an instant, all the cultivators raised their heads and looked at the beautiful woman who appeared at the entrance of the pavilion. She was wearing a purple dress, and her purple hair fluttered in the wind. Her figure was exquisite, and her eyes were twinkling like stars. Her thin lips were sparkling and translucent, and her nose and sharp chin were proof of her beauty. Fourth miss, when the ladies saw this, they hurriedly stood up and stood in a row as they bowed to Qin Hua. They lowered their heads slightly and pursed their lips tightly. Their expressions were filled with panic. What are you standing there for? Why aren't you going to entertain the guests? Qin Hua frowned and angrily rebuked. Yes, fourth miss. The numerous ladies once again bowed and accepted the order. They turned to look at Wang Kai with reluctance in their eyes before dispersing. They forced smiles as they welcomed the guests who had come to have fun. If possible, they really did not want to chat and laugh with those guests at the same table. Even if they would be taken advantage of by Wang Kai, they were still willing to do so. After all, Wang Kai had spoken a few words of justice for them. If it were not for the fact that they had no other choice, as the dignified disciples of the mystic moon sect, how could they accompany others to eat, drink, and play? A group of ungrateful bastards. If it were not for the fact that you still have some use, you would all be dismembered by 5 horses. Qin Hua coldly glanced at those cultivators and snorted inwardly. Naturally, her killing intent was intense toward the word prostitute that some of the cultivators had just said. Even if they changed their words in time, they could not escape the charge of discrimination. Alas, fourth miss, you actually discriminated against a blind man. The heavens are really unfair. The heavens cannot tolerate this. Even if Ben Shao is a blind man, it is not that he did not pay for coming here to have fun. Moreover, in Ben Shao's opinion, all the sisters present here have been wronged. It is a pity that Ben Shao is alone and weak. He is also a blind man who sees people as evil. He can't do anything to help. Wang Kai shook his head and sighed again and again. His expression and words were simply heartbreaking for those who heard it and shed tears for those who saw it. And in fact, it was exactly so. Because of Wang Kai's continuous words, all the beautiful ladies immediately held handkerchiefs, covered their charming faces, and sobbed softly with tears in their eyes. When they looked at Wang Kai again, some of them even revealed their love. Of course, more of them were grateful. If they were not in the same position, they would not be able to understand the feelings of those words. It was precisely because those ladies were accompanying others to eat, drink, and play that those words pierced their sore spot. Ha ha, little bastard, this move of yours is very skillful and superb. Suddenly, the fourth Mrs. Cold laughter that was filled with mockery resounded in his mind. Instantly, it caused Wang Kai's brows to twitch slightly. Sisters, please properly entertain the guests. I will be the one to entertain this person. Qin Hua lightly laughed. Her smile was like 100 flowers blooming, extremely enchanting. Whoosh! When those words came out, the eyes of the beautiful ladies lit up. They looked at Qin Hua with joy in their eyes. Furthermore, they felt that it would be better to have Qin Hua as a companion. After all, Qin Hua was one of the 4 masters of Moon Lake. Damn! What's going on? Shouldn't he be severely punished? Damn it! Why does fourth miss have to accompany that brat? Isn't this too unfair? In an instant, many cultivators stood up and cursed in anger. All of them were extremely sullen in their hearts. If it was possible, they also wanted Qin Hua to accompany them. After all, she was the master of Moon Lake. Moreover, she never accompanied guests. However, Qin Hua paid no attention to them. Such a situation caused many cultivators to be inwardly vexed, but they could only swallow their anger and endure it. Stinking brat, are you pretending to be blind to challenge me? Qin Hua's figure swayed as she sat beside Wang Kai. Their shoulders were only a finger's distance apart. Even at such a distance, it caused bursts of fragrance to enter Wang Kai's nose. That's not true. Ben Shao has never been pretentious and has always been magnanimous. He's a good man. If you don't believe me, you can find an empty room and have a frank meeting. You can also take a good look and see if Ben Shao will dump you. I'm not boasting, but no matter how beautiful a woman is, she's just a stinking bag with Ben Shao. There's no attraction at all. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and smiled with an indifferent expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully boasting. You've obtained 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Whoosh! Qin Hua's beautiful eyes were instantly enraged when she heard that. Strands of killing intent brewed and flashed in her eyes. Her jade-like hands that were hidden in her sleeves were clenched so tightly that they turned white. She couldn't believe that Wang Kai would actually use such words to take advantage of her. It's just as I expected. This person is an out-and-out bastard. Qin Hua tightly clenched her teeth and cursed in her heart. Chapter 766. Ah, why is Mrs. Face so ugly? Could it be that you ate too much? Choked? Or did you hold it in? Do you need to find a handsome and otherworldly man like this young master to vent your feelings? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and said with a teasing smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Whoosh! Qin Hua's gaze instantly froze when she heard this. Her jade-like hand lightly knocked on the table as she sneered with disdain. Aren't you blind? Since that's the case, how can you tell whether my face is good or bad? Hee, miss, could it be that you think that Ben Shao let it slip? Are you an idiot? If Ben Shao would make such a simple mistake, wouldn't he be an idiot? Perception, aura. Do you understand? Wang Kai curled his lips and said with a disdainful expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. A blind man who claimed that he did not practice martial arts was talking about perception. Qin Hua instantly became even more certain of her guess. She swept her gaze around and saw that there were many cultivators secretly looking over. Helpless, she could only force a smile and say, Young master, do you want to move to a place where there is no one and have a chat? Go to a place where there is no one? Have a chat? Wang Kai could not help but rub his nose when he heard this. He secretly thought that this woman knew how to play. She even wanted to trick him to a place where there was no one and punish him? Although Wang Kai wasn't afraid, he didn't want to let her have her way. Forget it. Although Ben Shao likes beauties, he does not want to have any relationship with them. Even if you have held it in for a long time and want to find Ben Shao to vent, I'm sorry, but Ben Shao is not a person that anyone can do just because they want to. Wang Kai shrugged and said with an indifferent smile. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. You, this damned bastard! Qin Hua was so angry that her delicate body trembled slightly. She gritted her teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. She had never imagined that Wang Kai would actually be so cunning. Young master, you don't want to make a fool of yourself in front of everyone, right? If I crippled you here and threw you into the moon lake, you would be very embarrassed, right? Everyone says that men care a lot about their reputation. I believe that young master must be the same, right? Qin Hua tapped her jade-like fingers on the table as she looked at Wang Kai with a teasing gaze. Oh, Ben Shao has always been shameless. You can make your move now, but before you do, you have to think carefully. Moon Lake has always had a rule that forbids violence. If you, the owner, break it first, TSK, Looks like Moon Lake will be deserted in the future. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled faintly. Whoosh! As soon as he said that, Qin Hua entered a frenzied state of internal conflict. Indeed, what Wang Kai said was right. If the rules of Moon Lake were broken, who would dare to come here to eat, drink, and play in the future? Then wouldn't the mystic Moon Sect's plan fail? However, if they didn't use force in public, Qin Hua really couldn't tolerate Wang Kai's suicidal behavior. It doesn't matter if you don't come with me. I want to see if you can still survive when Moon Lake closes its doors. Humph. Qin Hua snorted with a cold expression. A threat? Wang Kai shrugged when he heard this. He could not help but laugh in his heart. This little girl was very naive. Since he dared to provoke them, how could he allow them to rob and kill him halfway? What realm is this little girl at? Wang Kai frowned and secretly transmitted his voice. First grade Star General. In the void, Xuanmiao Empress faintly replied. First grade Star General. The third realm of the 10-star realm? Star Source, Star Guard, Star General, Star Master, haha, you're just a first-grade Star General, yet you dare to say such bold words to Ben Shao. Do you know that even Star Kings can be easily killed by Ben Shao? Wang Kai raised his hand and took the wine cup. He raised his head and downed it. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Whoosh! As soon as he said that, Qin Hua's delicate body trembled slightly. She suddenly turned her head and stared at Wang Kai with eyes full of shock. She didn't expect that Wang Kai could see through her realm. In that case, if Wang Kai wasn't in the same realm as her, then he was stronger than her. Who are you? What do you want to do by coming to Moon Lake? Qin Hua asked with a solemn expression. At this point, Qin Hua completely trusted Wang Kai. He definitely wasn't here to take advantage of her sisters. With such a cultivation, what kind of woman couldn't he find? Was there a need for him to come to Moon Lake to seek pleasure? Haha, Ben Shao has never changed his name. He's Wang Kai, the leader of Poke Heaven Sect. Listen carefully, it's Poke, not Poke. As long as this young master is willing, anytime, anywhere, I only need to extend a finger, and the heavens can be broken. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a first-grade Star Guard. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a first-grade Star Source. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through and becoming a second-grade Star Power. Host, Wang Kai. Profession, Star Warrior Realm, first-grade Star Guard. Star Technique, None. Star Technique, None. Identification, Torch Dragon Eye Equipment, Ever-Changing Fan. Star Power, Level 2 Star Source, 20 Physique, Invulnerable Guardian Beast, None. Bragging Points, 105000 Experience, 06000000 Poke Heaven Sect. Hearing his words, Qin Hua's lips twitched and her beautiful eyes were filled with bewilderment and a trace of disdain. She was bewildered because she had never heard of Poke Heaven Sect before. She was naturally disdainful of Poke Heaven Sect. No. You're Wang Kai. Whoosh! Qin Hua suddenly stood up and slammed her slender hand on the table as she hollered in shock. Such a scene also caused many of the surrounding cultivators to be startled, and they all turned their gazes over. Wang Kai. Could it be that Wang Kai, who is wanted by the city lord of Tongtian City? But that's not right. I heard that Wang Kai is not blind and has a terrifyingly strong cultivation level. Yes, this person must be pretending to be Wang Kai again. He clearly has no cultivation level and yet, he still claims to be Wang Kai. In this day and age, there are even people pretending to be wanted criminals. After the shock, many cultivators pursed their lips and sneered in disdain. Naturally, no one believed that the blind man who was fancied by so many women would be Wang Kai. Hearing this, Wang Kai also shook his head helplessly and sighed sadly. In this day and age, no one believes Ben Shao when he speaks the truth. However, this is good too. It saves the city lord of Tongtian City from coming to find trouble with Ben Shao. It also saves Ben Shao's hands from being stained with blood again. Humph, continue bragging. Even a blind man knows how to act pretentious. Seeing is really better than hearing about it 100 times. Many cultivators pursed their lips in disdain and took Wang Kai as a self-directed act to deceive them. Chapter 767. Others might not believe it, but it didn't mean that Qin Hua didn't believe it. After all, Sha Wujing, who was already at the peak of the Star Guard realm, was still detained in the ship. Even his disciple was at the peak of the Star Guard realm. How could his master be weak? Moreover, he could see through her cultivation level. Thinking of this, Qin Hua frowned. She felt that Wang Kai was more and more mysterious. He was obviously young, but he had such an unfathomable cultivation level. Young Master Wang, I know that your cultivation level is strong, but if you want to release people from the Moon Lake, your cultivation level alone is far from enough. Qin Hua said lightly. Cultivation level is far from enough? This was the first time that Wang Kai had heard such words. The cultivation world respected martial art. Qin Hua was so confident that she must think that he was afraid of the Holy Moon sect. Interesting. Haha, Miss Qin, you're wrong. You can imagine that if this young master were to display his supreme power right now and toy with all of you to death, then destroy the entire Moon Lake, what can you do? No matter how powerful the Holy Moon sect is, it is not in the land of Tianzhou. Wang Kai shrugged and threatened with an indifferent expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Toy with them to death. Destroy the Moon Lake. Whoosh. As soon as he said this, Qin Hua's eyes suddenly turned cold. She originally thought that Wang Kai pretended to be blind and came here because he was afraid of the Holy Moon sect, but now it seemed that it was not what she thought. If you have such courage, then do it. I want to see if you dare to provoke the Holy Moon sect. Qin Hua pursed her red lips and sneered disdainfully. Facing Qin Hua, who had hardened her attitude, Wang Kai was speechless for a while. He was just bragging just now. Did she have to be so serious? Haha, not to mention destroying the Moon Lake, even destroying the Holy Moon sect is just a matter of flicking my finger. Before Ben Shao makes his move, I should play with you first. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled with a playful expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Play? Whoosh. Qin Hua's face instantly went pale when she heard this. She stood up and clenched her jade-like hands as she stared at Wang Kai with an extremely vigilant expression. Hee, since Miss Qin has the guts to act tough in front of Ben Shao, why don't we fight in the void? I'm just afraid that you don't have the guts. Wang Kai shrugged and pretended to laugh contemptuously. Crack. As soon as his voice faded, the void was torn apart by Wang Kai with his bare hands. Then, he gestured for the other party to enter. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Hesitation flashed across Qin Hua's eyes, but she couldn't bear to lose face. She could only grit her teeth and step into the void in a hot-headed manner. Haha, Ben Shao likes such a straightforward and open-minded woman like Miss Qin. Wang Kai laughed heartily when he saw this and hurriedly followed behind. Whoosh! As the tear in the void closed, the surrounding cultivators were all stunned. What's the situation? Could it be that the two of them snuck in? F***ck. That's impossible. At the same time, the three women in the depths of the giant ship stood up nervously when they saw this scene. They looked at each other and simultaneously sensed the location of Qin Hua and Wang Kai. Although I can't sense Wang Kai's aura, fourth sister's aura is still there. The two of you have to keep a close eye on her at all times. Don't let fourth sister suffer. Qin frowned and exhorted. In the void, Qin Hua, who couldn't remain calm and barged into the void, had already woken up at this moment. Looking at the void that was invaded by lightning and Wang Kai, who had a strange smile on his face, her delicate body couldn't help but tighten. Even though she was panicking in her heart, Qin Hua still pretended to be calm and snorted coldly. Young Master Wang, shall we begin? I want to see what kind of ability you have. Tsk, Miss Qin is really bold. Since that's the case, Ben Shao will let you experience the art of exploding clothes. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled with ridicule. Art of exploding clothes? Hearing such words, Qin Hua was startled. Her beautiful eyes blinked and she sneered in confusion. I'm sorry. I've cultivated in the star field for many years and have never heard of such a technique. It's normal that you don't understand. The so-called art of exploding clothes is to explode all your clothes and turn you into a naked mannequin. Do you understand now? Wang Kai grinned and said with a strange smile. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Hua was so frightened that her face turned pale. Her delicate body tensed up and she couldn't help but take a few steps back. Her beautiful eyes seemed to be frozen as she stared at Wang Kai. Art of exploding clothes. Whoosh. Suddenly, Wang Kai let out a loud shout and charged towards Qin Hua. His appearance of baring his fangs and brandishing his claws caused Qin Hua to cry out in fear. Gotcha! In her panic, Qin Hua forgot to use her cultivation to block Wang Kai. Or rather, in her subconscious, she knew that she wasn't a match for Wang Kai. Therefore, she didn't have the intention to fight. She cried out in alarm and her jade-like hands tore madly, tearing dozens of holes in the void. Then, her eyes lit up and she floated away from the void. Is Ben Shao so scary? I was just joking just now. Seeing this, Wang Kai grinned and stopped. He looked at Qin Hua, who was running away frantically. For a moment, he felt that it was funny. She's a Star General expert. If she attacked you just now, how would you deal with it? Mysterious Lady said indifferently. Oh, I still have you. Regarding this, Wang Kai just casually replied. Unexpectedly, he received a sudden attack from Mysterious Lady. His figure was directly slapped out of the void. Following the crack that was torn open by Qin Hua, he fell out. Plop! In a room, Wang Kai smashed into the ground. Big sister, kill him! Following a familiar voice, Wang Kai's eyebrows twitched and he quickly got up from the ground. Looking at the pale-faced Qin Hua, who was shouting while pointing at him, and the other three women around her, he was stunned. These three women were the same as Qin Hua. Their faces were peerless and their bodies were exquisite. Moreover, the woman in a white dress who was leading the group was even more superior than him. I didn't expect the Mystic Moon sect to have so many beauties. Seeing this, even Ben Shao wants to join the Mystic Moon sect. At that time, with Ben Shao's handsomeness and your peerless beauty, you'll be a perfect match. Wang Kai grinned and shook his head with a sincere expression. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Hearing this, the four women slightly pursed their red lips. Their beautiful eyes were filled with different emotions. Although they had already heard and investigated some things about Wang Kai, they were still shocked when they saw it with their own eyes. This person was indeed a weirdo. Chapter 768. Haha, young Master Wang sure knows how to joke. The Mystic Moon sect has never accepted male disciples. Qin Shi covered her face with her hand and laughed softly. Qin Hua's face turned cold when she heard this. She recalled the scene where she was frightened by Wang Kai and felt extremely ashamed. She immediately snorted and said in an unfriendly tone, "Even if we were to accept male disciples, we would never accept a scum like you. Fourth sister, how can you speak to young Master Wang like that? Why aren't you apologizing to young Master Wang?" Qin Shu frowned and reprimanded her in a delicate voice. Apologize? As soon as these words came out, it made Qin Hua even angrier. She raised her arm and pointed at Wang Kai. She stared at Qin Shu with anger in her eyes and said unhappily, "Third sister, you actually want me to apologize to him? Don't tell me you've taken a fancy to him? Nonsense. Your third sister didn't mean that. Hurry up and apologize to young Master Wang," Qin Chi said with her eyes. "Second sister, you too." Qin Hua felt extremely wronged and her eyes turned red. She couldn't believe that in such a short time, they were all speaking up for Wang Kai. Second sister, third sister, fourth sister? Then this lady can't be the eldest sister, right? TSK, she really has the demeanor of an eldest sister. She's beautiful, elegant, and has a great figure. It's enough to play with for a few hundred years. Wang Kai squinted his eyes and gave her a thumbs up. Swish. However, such praise made Qin frown. A hint of coldness flashed in her beautiful eyes, but it quickly dissipated. "Haha, young Master Wang must be joking. We four sisters are just the four maids of the goddess of the mystic moon sect. How can we be praised by young Master Wang? I'm Qin. Greetings, young Master Wang." Qin bowed slightly and smiled. Qin Shu. As Qin spoke, Qin Chi and Qin Shu also bowed and greeted one after another. Fourth sister. Seeing that Qin Hua was pouting and had no intention of speaking, Qin immediately looked at her. Seeing this, Qin Chi and Qin Shu hurriedly walked to Qin Hua's side. They tugged at her sleeves and kept winking at her. Fourth sister quickly apologized to him. "I suspect that he is the one we are looking for. Don't provoke him for now. If his identity is confirmed, you will suffer in the future," Qin Chi reminded her through telepathy. Qin Shu also secretly transmitted her voice and warned in a serious tone, "If we are really sure that he is the person we are looking for, what do you think will happen when we bring him back to the Holy Moon sect in the future? Fourth sister, don't blame me. For the sake of your future, this is the only way. Hurry up and apologize." In the end, even Qin secretly reminded Wang Kai through voice transmission, but she maintained a smile on her face as she looked at Wang Kai. Him. He was actually the one who accepted the order. Qin Hua fell into a state of shock after hearing her three sisters' persuasion. She could not believe that a lowly scum like Wang Kai would become the one who accepted the order of the Holy Moon sect's holy maiden. At the same time, Wang Kai slowly opened his eyes and looked at the four sisters. They were all there without saying a word, but their expressions were very calm. He was suddenly speechless. Needless to say, it was easy to guess that they must be communicating something behind the scenes. The sky is actually bright? What's going on? In an instant, the faces of Qin and the others froze. Their beautiful eyes were filled with surprise as they looked at the sky outside the window. Wang Kai also casually glanced at the sky. He secretly thought that since he opened his eyes, the sky would naturally be bright. Moreover, it should be dusk now, right? It's actually not dusk? However, when he looked at it, it was still exactly the same as when he closed his eyes. It was only now that Wang Kai realized that from the moment he closed his eyes, time had stopped flowing. As long as he opened his eyes, time would return to normal. Time would not flow just because he closed his eyes. I really can't believe your ability. Could it be that you've cultivated the Tao of time? In his mind, Xuanmiao Queen's voice sounded. Her tone was full of surprise. Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he heard that. He secretly thought that he had just found out. He originally thought that after he closed his eyes, he would wait for 4 hours before opening them again. At that time, he would definitely fall into the night. However, in reality, that was not the case. It seems that if I want the sky to turn dark, I still need 4 hours. Wang Kai secretly shook his head helplessly. He turned to look at the 4 sisters and said bluntly, "Let go of Ben Xiao's disciple." "He, young Master Wang's disciple, of course we will let him go. However, before that, could young Master Wang please drip a drop of blood essence into this mirror?" Qin Qin retracted her gaze and no longer cared about the sky. Her pair of beautiful eyes looked at Wang Kai with slight anticipation. Drip a drop of blood essence into the mirror? Hearing this, Wang Kai's expression froze. He couldn't help but touch his nose and look at the mirror on the table. In it, the scene of the practitioners playing outside was still displayed. No wonder I knew that Ben Xiao was pretending to be blind. It turns out that he had been using this thing to secretly observe. Wang Kai secretly laughed. "You want Ben Xiao's blood essence? Hee. I'm not afraid to tell you that a drop of Ben Xiao's blood essence is a priceless treasure. It can easily destroy the entire extraterritorial starry sky. Not everyone wants it, but Ben Xiao will give it to them." Wang Kai shrugged and smiled proudly. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Swish. As soon as he said this, the 4 sisters felt extremely disdainful. Even the eldest sister, Qin Qin, who was the calmest, felt dissatisfied with Wang Kai in her heart. It was fine that he bragged before, but now he was still bragging. And his bragging was so unbearable. But in order to find the person who answered the order and complete the mission of the Mystic Moon sect, even if they were unhappy, they had to endure it. Young Master Wang, please think carefully. This time, maybe it can change your destiny and let you become a person of high status in the extraterritorial starry sky. Qin Qin said with a calm smile. Change destiny? Obtain the identity and status in the extraterritorial starry sky. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. Although he did not know what they were up to, he would not let go of the opportunity to brag. Extraterritorial starry sky, identity and status, TSK. Do you know that Ben Xiao is the creator of the extraterritorial starry sky? If Ben Xiao had not punched and kicked a few years ago, would the chaos have collapsed? If it had not collapsed, would there have been an extraterritorial starry sky? Wang Kai shrugged and sneered with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Eldest sister, why are you talking nonsense with him? I have already said that he is definitely not the person who answered the order of our sect. He is a despicable, shameless, and despicable person. Qin Hua suddenly cursed in a delicate voice. Shut up! Why are you still not shutting up? However, what she received was a continuous reprimand from Qin Qin and the other 2 sisters. Qin Qin and the other 2 sisters were helpless with Qin Hua's actions. If Wang Kai was not the person who answered the order, then it would be fine. If he was, then wouldn't it be causing trouble for their own disciples? Chapter 769. The person who accepts the order? Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and looked at them in surprise. He asked curiously, if Ben Xiao really becomes the person who accepts the order of the Holy Moon sect, what benefits will he get? Swoosh. Qin Hua frowned when she heard this. She curled her lips and sneered in disdain. You won't be the one who will accept the order. There are some things that won't benefit you even if you know them. 4th sister. Qin Qin coldly scolded. She then turned and looked at Wang Kai. Her eyes were filled with gentleness as she smiled. If Sir can become the one who accepts the order, you can become the companion of the goddess of our sect, and even become the next sect leader of our sect. Everything in the sect will have to listen to you. What the F***ck? So good? If Benshao is really the person who accepts the order, the four of you have to listen to Benshao's orders? You have to do whatever I ask you to do? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a playful smile. Swoosh. Qin Qin and her sisters frowned when they heard his words. From Wang Kai's words, they could tell that what he asked them to do was definitely not something good. However, this was the rule of the Holy Moon sect. Even if they were unwilling, they had no choice. Yes, that's right. Qin Qin nodded slightly. Swoosh. As soon as she finished speaking, Wang Kai's figure flashed and came directly in front of the mirror. He flicked his finger without any explanation. Patter. As the blood essence dripped into the mirror, a burst of light suddenly flashed. This, plop. Upon seeing this, Qin Hua's complexion had already turned frighteningly pale. She was so frightened that she fell to the ground, and her delicate body was also slightly trembling. Qin Qin and the others were also shocked. Although they had some doubts at the beginning, now their guesses were confirmed. Wang Kai was indeed the person who accepts the order of the Holy Moon sect. Greetings to the Divine Sun. Qin Qin came back to her senses and bowed together with Qin Shi and Qin Shu. Their expressions were extremely respectful. Son of God. Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. Looking at the shining mirror, he couldn't help but rub his nose and say with a smile, "The people of your mystic moon sect are too relaxed. You may not know, Godchild, but we have been searching for thousands of years in the star region. Then, with the guidance of Elder Tianji, we came to Tianzhou. I didn't think that we would find you in just 1 year, Godchild," Qin Qin said respectfully. Elder Tianji. Whoosh. Upon hearing these words, Wang Kai's expression was instantly startled. Soon after, he gritted his teeth as his expression fluctuated indeterminately. Xuanmiao Empress said that I'm her fated person, and now the Mystic Moon sect says that I'm the one who's following orders, and it's all because of the Tianji Elder's guidance. In such a situation, Wang Kai already had a bad premonition. Wang Kai, you can only be the fated person of the Nine Heavens Palace in the Nine Heavens Starfield. You can't become the godly Moon sect's follower. Suddenly, Xuanmiao Empress's indifferent voice sounded in his mind, as if it was an order. At this moment, Wang Kai realized that Xuanmiao Empress didn't know that the Mystic Moon sect was looking for the follower. Otherwise, why would she ask him to come to Moon Lake? Fourth sister, why aren't you getting up and apologizing to the Godchild? Qin Qin frowned and scolded. There was a deep sense of worry in her eyes. If Wang Kai was dissatisfied, they would do as he said, even if it meant taking Qin Hua's life. Your servant greets the Son of God. Your servant was disrespectful just now. Please spare my life. Qin Hua clenched her silver teeth. Her expression was dull, and she seemed to be in despair. Godchild, fourth sister has always been impulsive. I hope that you can spare her life on account that she doesn't know your previous identity. Qin Qin knelt on the ground and begged with her head lowered. Godchild, please spare fourth sister. Qin Shi and Qin Shu looked at each other and knelt on the ground together. The corner of Wang Kai's mouth twitched when he saw this scene. They were shouting to kill him before, but now they were kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. This change was too fast, wasn't it? Get up, all of you. Benshao has always been kind and benevolent. He will never be calculative with women, let alone kill innocent people. To Benshao, every life in the world is worthy of respect. Yes, because they were all created by Benshao. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have gained 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the second-rank Star Guard. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next rank. You have gained 10 star source points. Hearing this, Qin Qin and the other 2 girls were speechless. They all felt that Wang Kai was very unreliable, but the mirror had already reacted to him and recognized him as the Godchild. Therefore they could only submit to fate. Thank you, godchild, for your mercy. Wait, as the saying goes, you can avoid death, but you can't escape punishment. Qin Hua was disrespectful to Benshao before. Although Benshao won't kill her, she will still be punished. Now, Benshao wants to know if you are willing to be punished with her. Yes, it can be reduced a little. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and smiled strangely. This, I will be punished alone. Godchild, please instruct me. Qin Hua lowered her head and gritted her teeth as she spoke. Her beautiful eyes were filled with tears. It was obvious that she was prepared to be punished. Moreover, the four sisters knew very well that the punishment that Wang Kai was talking about was definitely a very detestable way. We are willing to be punished together. We only hope that the godchild can reduce fourth sister's sin, Qin said firmly. Clap clap. Seeing this scene, Wang Kai immediately clapped his hands and praised with a smile. Not bad, not bad. Since all of you are so kind, Benshao won't make things difficult for all of you. Stand over there and dance for Benshao. Yes, the kind of dance where a few pieces of clothing will fall off after dancing a few times. Whoosh. A dance where a few pieces of clothing will fall off after dancing a few times. Hearing this, Qin and the other two girls were dumbfounded. Even though they had expected this, they didn't expect such a punishment. You are really a despicable person, the Xuanmiao Empress in the void said with an extremely cold tone. Haha, Xuanmiao Empress, if you want Benshao to be your fated person, then you should learn from them. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled indifferently. Humph, have you forgotten the agreement we made before? The Xuanmiao Empress snorted coldly. Bullsh *T agreement, that was your one-sided oppression. Now that the Mystic Moon sect has their eyes on Benshao, if you don't want Benshao to help the Mystic Moon sect, then you should learn from them. Of course, you can also force your way through, but I don't know if the Mystic Moon sect will sit by and do nothing? Wang Kai shrugged and curled his lips indifferently. You shameless! The Xuanmiao Empress was speechless. Indeed, Wang Kai could ask the Mystic Moon sect to protect him now. Moreover, even if she forced her way through, she would definitely be stopped by the experts of the Mystic Moon sect when she was in the outer region. At that time, the Mystic Moon sect and Empyrean Palace would definitely start a war. The Xuanmiao Empress didn't want to see that kind of thing for the time being. Chapter 770. Not only does Benshao have teeth, but he also has a mouthful of white teeth. I vaguely remember that many years ago, Benshao used his teeth to crush a star. Wang Kai shrugged and bared his teeth at the void. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Deity, what are you doing? Qin and the other three girls looked puzzled. Seeing Wang Kai grimacing in pain, their expressions changed constantly. For a moment they felt very strange. Nothing, you may begin. Wang Kai waved his hand and smiled casually. Naturally, he would not tell them about the Xuanmiao Empress. Begin. Qin and the other three girls looked at each other and could only nod their heads in resignation. Their movements were extremely stiff as they danced on the spot. At the same time, their clothes fell to the ground one by one. Leave this place with me. Buzz. Crack. The void suddenly tore open. Before Wang Kai could react, he was pulled into the void by the Xuanmiao Empress. Who is it? How dare you? How dare you disrespect the deity of our sect? Suddenly, Qin and the other three girls shouted sternly. They rushed over with their clothes in disarray and slammed the void, causing cracks to appear. However, there was no sign of Wang Kai. Quickly report this to the deity. No need, I have already seen it. The one who kidnapped the deity should be the Xuanmiao Empress of the Nine Heavens, Star Zone. Just as Qin and the other three girls were discussing, the mirror on the table began to flicker with light. Then, a pleasant voice resounded from within. Greetings, Your Highness the deity. Qin Qin and the other 3 girls quickly knelt on the ground and bowed their heads. Their expressions were extremely respectful. In 3 days I will rush to the Tianzhou. Before that, guard the entrance to the extraterritorial region from the Tianzhou. I will also order the experts of the sect to guard the extraterritorial region. Crack. As the melodious voice disappeared, the mirror on the table shattered into pieces. Qin Qin frowned and said, "Hurry up and give the order for all the sisters to guard the entrance to the outer realm." "Yes, big sister." At the same time, in the void, Wang Kai sat cross-legged and snorted with dissatisfaction. "What are you doing? What are you doing? Didn't you see that the show had just started? At least let Ben Shao take a few glances. I will fulfill all your requests. Of course, it's not me who will fulfill them, but the 10 goddesses of the 9 heavens starfield." Xuanmiao Empress said calmly. 10 goddesses? So many? Wang Kai was startled when he heard this. He couldn't help but touch his nose. He was really tempted. He had never tasted a beauty from the outer realms before. There are many factions in the 9 heavens starfield. Naturally, each faction has 1 goddess. The 10 great goddesses I mentioned are the strongest 10. Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Since coercion didn't work, now she was tempting him? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and stood up. He shrugged his shoulders and smiled casually. That is to say, they are on the same level as the goddesses of the mystic moon sect? Of course not. Like me, they are the 2nd strongest in their respective starfield. Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently. Her tone seemed to be filled with hostility. From her appearance, it was not difficult to see that Xuanmiao Empress and the goddesses of the mystic moon sect had a deep relationship. Haha, do I need Ben Shao to settle this score personally? Wang Kai curled his lips and sneered disdainfully. In the mystic moon sect, he could be partners with the 2nd strongest, the goddesses. In the 9 heavens starfield, although there were still 10 goddesses, they were not as noble and powerful as one from the mystic moon sect. You have to keep your promise. If you don't agree, I can take your life. Xuanmiao Empress stared coldly at Wang Kai and said coldly. Hiss, seeing this, Wang Kai took a deep breath and waved his arm. He sneered disdainfully. I'm sorry, Ben Shao has always hated being threatened. Since you are so stubborn, Ben Shao will not let you have your way. Goodbye. Buzz. However, before Wang Kai could move, his body was frozen in place by Xuanmiao Empress. Break this seal and send Ben Shao out of here. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking the seal of the Celestial King realm. 50,000 bragging points have been consumed. Congratulations to the host for successfully escaping the pursuit of the Celestial King realm. 50,000 bragging points have been consumed. Buzz. Plop. In an unknown inn, Wang Kai fell to the ground. When he heard the notification, his heart beat violently. Damn it. I actually used up 100,000 bragging points of Ben Shao. She sent Ben Shao back to square one in an instant. Damn Xuanmiao Empress. When we meet again, I will definitely strip you naked and beat you until you scream for 100 years. Wang Kai frowned and snorted with displeasure. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Hearing the notification, the corners of Wang Kai's mouth twitched. For safety's sake, he could only urge his thoughts again. Change Ben Shao into another appearance. Congratulations to the host for successfully transforming. 1,000 bragging points have been consumed. Host, Wang Kai Profession, Star Warrior Realm, 2nd Grade Star Guard Star Technique, Nun Star Technique, Nun Identification, Torch Dragon's Eye Equipment, Ever-Changing Fan Star Power, 2nd Grade Star Source Points, 30 Physique, Invulnerable Guardian Beast, Nun Bragging Points, 11,000 Experience, 3000000600000. As Wang Kai's appearance changed again, Wang Kai's face suddenly darkened. He suddenly had a feeling of wanting to cry, but no tears came out. 110,000 bragging points, but in the end there are only 10,000 left. Xuanmiao Empress, oh Xuanmiao Empress, you should be glad that this young master has put down the butcher's knife for many years. Otherwise, I would have chopped you up. Wang Kai grinned and said something that even he didn't believe. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Wang Kai, I'll give you 3 days. Once you've made up your mind, you may come to the Moon Lake in Tongtian City to look for me. If you still don't appear in front of me after 3 days, you shall wait for your death. Suddenly, a faintly discernible voice came from all directions, causing Wang Kai to swallow a mouthful of saliva. At the same time, everyone in Heaven Connect City also heard it. Most of the cultivators even rushed to the Moon Lake to see who exactly was searching for Wang Kai. The city lord of Tongtian City and a few elders of Tongtian School also rushed over. At the same time, above the Moon Lake, Xuanmiao Empress sat cross-legged in midair with her eyes closed. Her body was surrounded by rays of light, and she looked even more fairy-like than a fairy. Just as you expected, the person just now is really Xuanmiao Empress, Qin Hua said with a frown. But that's not right. Since that person is Xuanmiao Empress, where did our divine son go? Why would she threaten our godson? Qin Chi asked in confusion. Everyone else was also puzzled by such a question. Even Qin fell into deep suspicion at this moment. She stared at Xuanmiao Empress and wondered if she was deliberately putting on an act for her. Chapter 771. Humph, you're acting tough again. If Ben Shao really went there, he would die a horrible death, wouldn't he? Since you let Ben Shao enjoy the scene of Guochunfeng, Ben Shao won't kill you today. I'll let you live for a few more days. In the inn, Wang Kai curled his lips in disdain. Of course, he would not be frightened by Xuanmiao Empress and go to see her. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 1 million experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Previously, Xuanmiao Empress had found him the second time because of Elder Tianji's guidance. However, this third time, Xuanmiao Empress could only threaten him verbally. This also proved that Elder Tianji did not predict his whereabouts the third time. The Moon Lake is cool, but Laosha is still caught inside. Damn it, it seems that I have to find a way to sneak into the Moon Lake. By then, I'll make use of the power of the Holy Moon sect to deal with the sky-reaching church, Wang Kai thought to himself, frowning. Hee hee, young man, did you come to this old man's room to have your fortune told? Suddenly, a light laugh sounded out from behind him, and it instantly caused Wang Kai's brows to twitch as he swiftly turned around. Earlier, he saw a white-haired old man sitting on the bed. The old man had an ordinary appearance, and his beard was extremely long, like a goatee. Moreover, the old man was holding a signboard in his hand, on which the words "Omnipotent Fortune Teller" were written. Tisk tisk, senior, you're quite good at bragging. Omnipotent Fortune Teller? Do you know that Ben Shao is omnipotent? Moreover, in the aspect of fortune-telling, this young master can tell if he is dead or alive, and if he is alive, I can also tell if he is dead or alive. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a rather indifferent smile, Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 1 million experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Although he said that, Wang Kai was still on guard in his heart. A great living person was in the same room with him, but he did not notice him from the beginning to the end. If he did not greet him, he would not have known that there was someone behind him when he walked out of the room. This old man was definitely not simple. Haha, what a good omnipotent! What a good the dead counts as living, the living counts as dead. Since that's the case, how about we have a contest? The old man stroked his beard and laughed. Looking at his confident look, Wang Kai's eyes suddenly narrowed. When it came to fortune-telling, he naturally didn't know anything about it. However, if he used the divine magic, he could have a contest. However, if he did that, he would have to waste his lifespan. It was not worth it for him to waste his lifespan just for an old man he had just met. Forget it. Bencheo's fortune-telling has always been for those who are fated. He will naturally ignore those who are not fated. Moreover, Bencheo's fortune-telling ability is the best in the world. How can he use it casually? Wang Kai shrugged and smiled disdainfully. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've gained 1 million experience points and 1,000 bragging points. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the 3rd rank Star Guard realm. Congratulations to the host for successfully breaking through to the next rank. You've gained 10 star source points. Hearing this, the old man stroked his beard and could not help but shake his head and smile. Since that's the case, let me read your fortune for free. What would you like to read? The old man smiled faintly. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sized up the old man in front of him. For a moment, he could not figure out what he was doing. He had coincidentally appeared at the place where he had escaped and wanted to read his fortune without letting him discover his tracks. Could it really be such a coincidence? However, thinking about the system's tracks, it was likely that no one would be able to discover them. Since that was the case, the suspicion that the old man had intentionally waited for him could be eliminated. Okay, then let's read Bencheo's future. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled as if he did not care. Future, the old man softly muttered as he stared at Wang Kai. A silver light flashed in his eyes. After a long while, he said, "Your future is shrouded in fog and cannot be seen through. However, based on my many years of experience, you should become the master of chaos in the future. It's just that, the future is shrouded in fog and cannot be seen through. Based on my many years of experience, will become the master of chaos?" Wang Kai's face immediately darkened when he heard this. At first, he thought that the old man had some ability. Now, it seemed that he was just a charlatan. Just what? Don't tell me that Bencheo's future is so difficult that even if he becomes the master of chaos, there will be danger accompanying him? Wang Kai curled his lips and sneered. Swoosh. However, Wang Kai's words caused the old man's eyes to widen. He stroked his beard and said in disbelief, "I didn't expect you to be so powerful. You actually saw through what I was about to say." Ugh. Go f***ck yourself. Benchao still has things to do. I don't have time to boast with you. Wang Kai's face twitched. He immediately cursed, flung his sleeves, pushed open the door and left. Clack. As the door closed, the old man stroked his beard and smiled faintly. Interesting, it is indeed interesting. Master of Chaos, the person you have chosen is really interesting. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, the old man's figure disappeared. At the same time, Wang Kai, who had just arrived on the street, met another fortune-teller. Moreover, it was a middle-aged burly man. The signboard in his hand had the words, "Predicting the heavens and earth, always successful," written on it. Young man, I see that you have delicate features, but your glabella is slightly dark. Moreover, your entire body is surrounded by the aura of death. I am afraid that you will not live for long. Do you want me to predict your future? Perhaps I can help you avoid disaster. The tall and sturdy middle-aged man held onto the signboard and blocked Wang Kai's path. His words caused the corners of Wang Kai's mouth to violently twitch. He had just met an omnipotent fortune-teller, and now there was an omnipotent fortune-teller. He spoke as if he was about to die. "Uncle, before you come out to cheat, can you change your appearance? You are so burly, why can't you do anything? Why must you cheat to pass your days?" Wang Kai curled his lips and said disdainfully, "Ba. Young man, do you think that I can predict your future with this appearance?" Suddenly, the middle-aged burly man's figure and appearance underwent a tremendous change. He was originally burly, but now he had become a bald old monk. He was wearing a golden Buddhist robe and holding prayer beads in his hand. I met another extraordinary person. Damn it, what is going on in Heaven Connect City? Are there only so many strange experts? Wang Kai frowned and was secretly annoyed. Then you can predict Benshio's future. Wang Kai shrugged and waved his hand impatiently. Chapter 772. Predict the future. The fortune teller, who was disguised as a monk, circled around Wang Kai 3 times. Finally, he said softly, "The future is bumpy. I'm afraid you'll die at the hands of a woman." Die at the hands of a woman? Hearing this, Wang Kai was speechless. Looking at the old monk's signboard, he angrily reached out his hand and smashed the signboard. "Even if you die, you'll die at the hands of your sister. Maybe your sister. Or your daughter." Wang Kai snorted with a dark face. He put his hands behind his back and left. Looking at Wang Kai's back, the old monk shook his head and sighed. Master of Chaos, he only has 7 chances left. If he's still trying to predict the future, I can't do anything about it. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, the old monk's figure disappeared. Wang Kai, who was walking on the street, was once again blocked by a figure. This time, it was a blind fortune teller. He was sitting in front of a table with a signboard beside him. On it were the words, "Predict the future and you'll live. If you don't, you'll die." Such simple words, but they were more impressive than the signboards of the 2 fortune tellers he had seen before. If he did, he would live. If he didn't, he would die. "Young man," just as Wang Kai was about to leave, he heard a familiar voice. "Young man, my ass. Do fortune tellers have to call me young man now? Can't you play some new tricks and call me handsome?" Wang Kai's face darkened and he snorted rather speechlessly. "Ha ha, handsome. You'd better call me young man." Looking at the blind man's aged appearance, it was obvious that he was trying to deceive Wang Kai, but he still smiled and called him a handsome young man. Hearing this, Wang Kai felt goosebumps all over his body, and he quickly waved his hand to stop him. "Young man, can you let the old man predict your future? It's free." The blind fortune teller chuckled. Then, he did some calculations again. Wang Kai shook his head when he heard that. In desperation, he could only walk to the old man's table and sit down. He found it funny and said, "There is no novelty at all. Forget it, you can count it. And count it as the future." The future again. The blind fortune teller furrowed his brows slightly. After calculating with his fingers, he said, "Young man, your future still needs to be tempered. You must avoid the danger of being easily angered. You must first think about everything calmly." "Oh, okay, Benshao got it. Goodbye." Before the blind fortune teller could finish speaking, Wang Kai lost interest. In the end, it still meant that he would be in danger. "Can't you say something nice?" After Wang Kai left, the blind fortune teller smiled bitterly and shook his head. His figure instantly disappeared. However, the number of times that Wang Kai encountered fortune-telling increased as well. Previously, he had encountered 3 of them. After that, he encountered another 5. Naturally, they were all about the future. Although the fortune-tellers said different things each time, the final meaning was that danger was about to befall him. When Wang Kai was about to approach the Moon Lake, a young man in a white robe stopped him with a fortune-telling signboard in his hand. "Count, count, count, count. Ling 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 ling. Are you the F*King evolved version of the previous 8 fortune-tellers?" Wang Kai's face darkened as he looked at the words on the signboard speechlessly. Counting, this was the 9th fortune-teller. Wang Kai was speechless. It was strange. Why were all the fortune-tellers looking for him today? Did he look like he was so easily deceived? "Dear friend, can I help you calculate it?" The young man smiled in a friendly manner as he asked. Hearing this, Wang Kai was already numb to it. He waved his hand casually and said, "Count it. Count it as the future. F***ck. Can't you just change it to something else? Count your F***king future? What the F***ck does your future have to do with me?" Suddenly, before Wang Kai could get angry, the young man was already furious. He pointed at Wang Kai's nose and scolded him. Moreover, from his expression, it was obvious that he was very angry. F***ck your grandmother? Do you think Ben Shao is willing to let you read his fortune? If this young master doesn't beat your soul out of your body today, I won't be worthy of being called the Lord of Primal Chaos. Wang Kai immediately rolled up his sleeves, looking extremely angry. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. Wait, before you attack, do you dare to let me read your fortune? Read your F***king mind. Go to hell. Bam. What? Bam 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 bam. In an instant, under Wang Kai's repeated attacks, the young man had already been beaten until he was sprawled on the ground. There was not a single spot on his body that was unharmed. His nose was bruised and his face was swollen. Even his signboard had been smashed into pieces. You can now read whether you are alive or dead. After Wang Kai stopped, he looked down at the young man lying on the ground and snorted in an unfriendly tone. Originally, this one's fate was to die, but seeing that you're still alive, why should this one die? Goodbye. F***ck. Buzz. Rumble. Wang Kai frowned when he heard this. Without any explanation, he stomped his foot on the ground, creating a deep trench. However, when the dust settled, the young man's figure was nowhere to be seen. My friend Wang, I will keep the last divination for you. When you have decided what to read, you can come to Tianji Star Zone. My name is Tianji Elder. Swoosh. As the ethereal voice entered his ears, the veins on Wang Kai's forehead bulged and his face turned extremely pale. So it is Tianji Elder. Ben Shao should have thought of it earlier. Tianji Star Zone, good good. I am not afraid that you will run fast. I am only afraid that you will not have a temple. Wang Kai gritted his teeth and sneered. Along the way, he had met 9 fortune-tellers. Moreover, they were all done by Tianji Elder alone. Sir, I can see that you have a strong evil aura and a high cultivation. Can I read your fortune? If young master can agree, the Tao of fortune telling that I cultivate will. What are you doing? No. Whoosh. Whoosh. In an instant, before the beautiful woman who had suddenly appeared could finish speaking, Wang Kai abruptly turned around and waved his hand, causing the clothes on her body to be completely torn apart. This caused her enchanting figure to be completely exposed. F***ck. Are you going to pretend to be a woman this time? Come on, let Ben Shao take a good look at the figure of a woman you have transformed into. Wang Kai sneered with disdain. You rogue. Shameless and despicable scum. My sky-reaching church will not forgive you. What? The beautiful woman covered her chest with her hands and squatted on the ground. She cried and cursed. Then, she quickly took out a set of clothes and put them on. Sky-reaching church? You are not Tianji Elder? Wang Kai was dumbfounded when he heard this. He could not help but touch his nose and feel speechless. Chapter 773. The Tianji Elder? Do you know the Tianji Elder? Did you just mistake me for the Tianji Elder? That's why you suddenly attacked me, right? Does this mean that you and the Tianji Elder are enemies? Swoosh. Suddenly, he heard the beautiful girl ask a series of questions and answer herself, causing Wang Kai's brows to furrow and black lines to appear on his forehead. Not only does Ben Shao know the Tianji Elder, but he's also very familiar with him. After all, he's an idiot that Ben Shao spared. Wang Kai shrugged and snorted with disdain. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You've received 1 million experience and 1,000 bragging points. How dare you? How dare you be so disrespectful to the Tianji elder? As the pursuer of the Tao created by the Tianji elder, I will not let you off. Take this. Buzz. The beautiful woman coldly snorted. Immediately, she flipped her jade-like hand and took out a compass. Without any explanation, she threw it at Wang Kai. A mere heavenly reversal stage noob dares to attack Ben Shao? Seeing this, Wang Kai curled his lips in disdain. With a flick of his finger, he shattered the compass. Crack! Plop! When the compass shattered, the lady's delicate body trembled. She fell to the ground with a pale face. Blood dripped from the corner of her mouth as she looked at Wang Kai in disbelief. You dare to attack me in Sky Connect City? Do you know that my name is Gu He? My father is the former sect leader of the Sky Connect sect, Gu Yun Tong. Gu He's delicate voice was filled with anger. The tumbling aura in her body and the intense pain caused tears to appear in her eyes. Gu Yun Tong's daughter? Wang Kai was stunned when he heard this. He couldn't help but rub his nose and think that it was fate. He vaguely remembered that it was Gu Yun Tong who had given him the position of the head of the Transcending Heaven Immortal sect. How come I've heard that the former hierarch of the Sky-reaching church is a boy called Wang Kai? Shouldn't your father be the former hierarch? Wang Kai twisted his eyebrows and said with a playful smile. Whoosh! However, these words immediately caused Gu He to curl her small mouth in disdain as she coldly snorted. Who does Wang Kai think he is? It's just that my father valued his cultivation base and wanted to use him to stabilize the situation of the Transcending Heaven Church temporarily. If he hadn't run fast enough, he would have died long ago. So that's how it was? Although he had expected this, Wang Kai naturally had a different feeling when he heard it with his own ears. It seems that it's reasonable that Ben Shao wants to attack the heavens-reaching church this time. Since he's acting tough with Ben Shao like this, how can I not beat him up? Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and sneered inwardly. How is it? Are you afraid? If you're afraid, kneel down and apologize quickly. Otherwise, my father will come here and kill you when he knows about this. Gu He sneered. Wang Kai slightly raised his eyebrows when he heard this. He secretly thought that this girl's tone was not small. Moreover, this hateful character of hers had been tempered to be extremely skillful. Since your father has been laid off, what right does he have to order the Sky-reaching church? Even if he finds a few experts, they'll be pitifully weak, right? Little girl, remember, don't act pretentious like this in the future. Although you have the ability to act pretentiously, you will look very unsightly when you act pretentious. Wang Kai shrugged and smiled with a rather disdainful expression. Whoosh! Gu He became angrier when she heard this. Her delicate body trembled as she took out a black disciple token of the Sky-reaching church from her bosom. Although my father is no longer the hierarch of the Sky-reaching church, his power is not inferior to the hierarch's. You should know that it was my father who shouldered the Sky-reaching church's most dangerous time. Even the current hierarch who has just returned from the foreign domain has to give my father some face. Gu He waved the disciple token and sneered. The threat in her expression was extremely obvious. Wang Kai's pupils shrank slightly when he saw this. Indeed, what this girl said was reasonable. No matter how powerful the Sky-reaching church was, it was impossible to kill a donkey after it had outlived its usefulness. In that case, you can enter the Buzhou Sky Palace and accompany Zi Kuan of the Purple Gold Star area. When Ben Shao attacks the Sky-reaching church, he will let you meet your father. Wang Kai shrugged his shoulders and said with a calm smile, Buzhou Sky Palace? Hearing this, Gu He's beautiful eyes suddenly widened. Her delicate body trembled as she raised her hand and pointed at Wang Kai. She exclaimed, You are Wang Kai? Due to Wang Kai's previous actions, the the world had already known that the Buzhou Sky Palace was his synonym. Starting from the alchemist's domain to the sky-reaching church, he had provoked the Nalan family of the alchemist's domain and the 13th young master of the netherworld underworld. He had come to the sky-reaching church, captured Zi Kuan of the purple gold star area, and killed the son of the sky-reaching city lord. He had also angered Xuanmiao Empress at the Moon Lake. A series of events had undoubtedly made Wang Kai the focus of attention. Of course, he had also become the target of everyone's search. Yes, Ben Shao is Wang Kai. You don't have to worry. Ben Shao won't kill you for the time being. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile. Buzz. Then, Wang Kai waved his hand and Gu He, who was in a daze, was taken into the Buzhou Sky Palace. In the end, Gu He still hadn't recovered from her shock. She was in a state of extreme fear and despair. It would be difficult to survive or even die in front of someone like Wang Kai who didn't play by the rules. Boy, why did you send another girl? Cat Lord's voice rang in Wang Kai's ears. Wang Kai raised his eyebrows and said with a mocking smile, treat her well. Be gentle. Ben Shao still needs to use her to seek justice from Gu Yuntong. Bastard! Why are you bullying a girl? However, Mu Sanyang, who was in the Buzhou Sky Palace, rebuked him and stood in front of the dazed Gu He to protect her. In Mu Sanyang's opinion, Wang Kai must have wanted to toy with her but failed. That was why he had captured her. Damn it! Is Ben Shao so bad in your eyes? That girl is the daughter of the former sect master of the sky-reaching church. If you want to protect her, then protect her. Wang Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a casual smile. What? Mu Sanyang's beautiful eyes turned cold. She turned to look at Gu He, who had just recovered from her shock. She pursed her red lips and asked in a deep voice, Is what he said true? Yes, it's true. Sister, please save me. The sky-reaching church will definitely give you benefits. What are you doing? Slap. However, before Gu He could finish her words, Mu Sanyang had slapped her several times. She spat out blood and fell to the ground. Benefits? The sky-reaching church will give me benefits. There's no need for that. Because the sky-reaching church has already given me the best gift in the world. Slap. Mu Sanyang's beautiful eyes were extremely cold. Her beautiful face was covered with frost. She clenched her teeth and sneered crazily. Her jade-like hands continued to slap Gu He. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have told her. If she continues to slap me, I'm afraid she will die. Wang Kai touched his nose and said speechlessly. Chapter 774. Moon Lake. Xuanmiao Empress closed her eyes and sat cross-legged in the air. Around her, strands of blue star power flowed, preventing the surrounding cultivators from getting close to the Moon Lake. They could only watch from afar. Even the city lord of Sky Connect City, who had rushed over after hearing the news, could only stop by the shore of the Moon Lake. Similarly, the Nalan family of the Apothecary Domain, the 13th young master of the Netherworld Domain, Wu Junyun of the Sky Martial Divine Palace, and Bai Jiyo, who had followed him here. Many elders and disciples of the Sky-Reaching School, as well as the cultivators in the city, were simply innumerable. Xuanmiao Empress, I'm the head of the Nalan family of the Apothecary Domain, Nalan Lianfeng. I've come to the Moon Lake to execute Wang Kai. I hope your highness can let us pass. A middle-aged man stepped out from the Nalan family's side and greeted Xuanmiao Empress with cupped fists from afar. Then, the 13th young master, the city lord of Sky Connect City, and the elders of the Sky-Reaching School all came forward to greet her. Everyone's expression was extremely respectful. However, Xuanmiao Empress did not respond to their greetings. She did not even open her eyes. Such a situation caused many cultivators to frown. The Nalan family was the overlord of the Apothecary Domain, and the one who came this time was their head. The 13th young master was one of the 13 talents of the netherworld domain. Although he was at the bottom, his father was the lord of the netherworld domain. Then there was the city lord of Sky Connect City, and the elders of the Sky Reaching School, who were the overlords of the Sky Reaching School. Even so, they were still ignored by Xuanmiao Empress. Moreover, they did not look angry. They did not even have the slightest bit of emotion. Such a situation caused many cultivators to secretly ponder. Who exactly was Xuanmiao Empress? How could she be so powerful? Little did they know that the head of the Nalan family, the 13th young master, and the others who came forward to greet her were extremely helpless. Others did not know who Xuanmiao Empress was, but it did not mean that they did not know. As the overlords of various domains, they naturally knew about the extraterrestrial domain. Xuanmiao Empress was the extraterrestrial domain's second strongest person in the 9 domain. Moreover, the 9 Heavens Palace in the Sky Province was only a branch of the 9 Heavens Starfield. In the outer realm, the forces they worshipped weren't as strong as those from the 9 Heavens Star Zone. In Tianzhou, it was also inferior to the 9 Heaven Palaces. Since that was the case, how could he still dare to be angry? Well, we can only wait here. Nalan Lianfeng shook his head and sighed. On the other hand, the 13th prince looked at the people from the Sky Reaching School and sneered. Could it be that even the Sky Reaching School doesn't dare to disobey Lady Xuanmiao? Whoosh! As soon as he said that, everyone's eyes were fixed on the people from the Sky Reaching School. Humph! Isn't it the same for the Yellow Springs underworld? You and I are well aware of this. Why do you have to do this? The city lord of Tongtian City sneered. My netherworld underworld is not afraid of Lady Xuanmiao. However, Tongtian Domain is the territory of Tongtian Sect. You have no right to speak in your own territory. TSK. 13th young master curled his lips and said with disdain. When they saw the 13th young master's childlike appearance and his blood-red robe, as well as the bloody aura that lingered around his body, the crowd started to frown. However, no one knew what they were talking about. As the top 3 forces in Tianzhou, the Sky Reaching Church and the Netherworld Underworld were protected by stronger forces in the extraterritorial starry sky. For example, the Heaven Reaching Starfield where the Heaven Reaching Church was located, and the Yellow Spring Starfield where the Yellow Spring Underworld was located. The 2 starfields could be said to be on equal footing with the 9 Heaven Starfield. However, in comparison, it was still slightly inferior to the 9 Heavens Starfield. Since young Master Bai Jiu of the White Tiger Star area is also here, why don't you greet Lady Xuanmiao? So that we can wait at the Moon Lake? The 13th young master turned his gaze towards Bai Jiu, who remained silent. However, when his gaze landed on Wu Junyun, it was filled with disdain. I'm sorry. I'm just a member of the White Tiger Planet and I can't represent the 4-symbol star zone. I have no grudges with Wang Kai. Speaking of which, I still owe him a favor, Bai Jiu said indifferently. Whoosh! The 13th young master's eyes darkened when he heard that. The 4-symbol star zone was an extremely powerful star zone that was not inferior to the 9 Heaven star zone. Even the Sky Reaching Starfield and the Netherworld Starfield were slightly weaker than the 4-symbol star zone. If Bai Jiu had asked, the Lady Xuanmiao would definitely have given him some face. However, he did not help and even said that he owed Wang Kai a favor. This was not a good sign for those who wanted to kill Wang Kai. Since you owe Wang Kai a favor, I will give you face and wait at the Moon Lake for tea. As for the rest, just stand there. Suddenly, the Lady Xuanmiao, who had been silent all this while, spoke. Her voice was indifferent and majestic. No, thank you, Lady Xuanmiao. I'm not here to capture or kill Wang Kai. I'm here to return a favor. Bai Jiu shook his head and rejected her directly. Whoosh! Many cultivators swallowed a mouthful of saliva when they heard that. The Lady Xuanmiao, who did not give face to the sky-reaching sect, the netherworld underworld, and the Nalan family, actually took the initiative to ask Bai Juyo to wait for tea. Moreover, she was rejected by Bai Juyo. Who was he? How could he be so powerful? If that's the case, then you can wait there. I believe that Wang Kai will definitely come. When that time comes, don't blame me for being merciless. Xuanmiao Empress smiled indifferently. Bai Juyo was not afraid at all. He nodded his head and smiled. Even if I die, I will return this favor to Wang Kai. As the two of them fell silent, the 13th young master and the elder of the sky-reaching sect looked at each other with a grave look in their eyes. Bai Juyo did not hesitate to go to war with the Lady Xuanmiao in order to return a favor to Wang Kai. In that case, Bai Juyo would not care about the reputation of the sky-reaching sect and the netherworld underworld. Although that lad is a little unreliable and despicable, he is still a good person overall. I represent the Sky Martial Divine Palace to help him. Suddenly, Wu Junyan opened his mouth and laughed. His words once again stirred up 1,000 ripples. Even the 13th young master and the elders of the sky-reaching sect did not expect Wu Junyun to represent the Sky Martial Divine Palace. Old fellow Wu, are you tired of living? Do you think you can represent the Sky Martial Divine Palace? The 13th young master frowned and sneered. Although the many elders of the sky-reaching church did not say anything, their cold expressions directly showed that they were very displeased. Of course he can represent the Sky Martial Divine Palace. Suddenly, a deep voice was heard. A middle-aged man in a black robe appeared in the void. He was holding a black long spear in his hand. He was burly and had a square face with a solemn expression. Oh my God! This is the Palace Master of the Sky Martial Divine Palace, Wu Qian. Chapter 775. Ha! Senior Wu Qian, how dare you say that you are going to help a nobody, Wang Kai? Are you treating the Netherworld Palace and Sky-reaching sect as mere decorations? The 13th prince squinted his eyes and sneered. Faced with this, the many elders of the heavenly reaching school revealed hostile gazes. They coldly stared at Wu Qian without the slightest trace of fear. Even though Wu Qian was the palace master of Sky Martial Divine Palace, Sky-reaching sect was the territory of Sky-reaching sect. Palace Master Wu, the agreement between the Nalan family and you is void. The family master of the Nalan family, Nalan Lianfeng, suddenly said. As the overlord aristocratic family of the alchemist region, they cultivated the way of medicine and had inseparable connections with many other factions. Sky Martial Divine Palace was one of them. However, Wu Qian was not bothered by the pressure from the Nalan family. He placed his hands behind his back and nodded his head. He smiled and said, "It's good that it's void." You. Nalan Lianfeng's eyes turned cold. He flung his sleeves and snorted. He thought that he could force Wu Qian to take a step back. However, the Sky Martial Divine Palace did not care about the Nalan family at all. Faced with such a situation, the Nalan family had also suffered some losses. However, as matters had already reached this point, there was no other way. Brother Bai, I will turn into a fan. You can bring Benshao into the Moon Lake. At the same time, Wang Kai, who was in the crowd, sent a message to Bai Juyo secretly. Naturally, he had seen everything that had just happened. The only person he could trust now was Bai Juyo. Otherwise, it would be impossible for them to sneak into the Moon Lake. All right. However, it's easy for you to go in, but it's hard for you to come out. Bai Juyo replied calmly. As long as you can go in, you can come out. The mysterious Empress is not a match for this young master. Now, this young master doesn't pay attention to her, but that's because I think she's pretty, so I'm keeping her alive. Wang Kai shrugged and said with a casual smile, "Congratulations to the host for bragging successfully. You have received 1,000,000 experience points and bragging points. Bai Juyo was speechless when he heard what Wang Kai said. He did not say anything else. Since Wang Kai wanted to do this, he would return the favor. Buzz. Puff. A fan appeared in Bai Juyo's hand. Wu Junyun, who was beside him, received a message from Bai Juyo. No, I can't keep standing here like an idiot. 9 Nether, tell Lady Xuanmiao to let us rest at the Moon Lake. Wu Junyun clasped his hands behind his back and pretended to be a big brother as he spoke. His words caused everyone to frown and stare coldly at him. It was already embarrassing enough for them to be standing there. Yet, they were actually called fools by him. If it were not for Wu Qian and Bai Juyo, they would have attacked him. Junior nephew Wu, you are right. I also feel that it is indecent to stand here. Let's invite young Master Bai. Wu Qian smiled faintly and agreed. Although he did not know what Bai Juyo and Wu Junyun wanted to do, Wu Qian was embarrassed by Wu Junyun's words. He could not continue to wait here. He could only look at Bai Juyo shamelessly. If he did not leave, he would be a fool. Bai Juyo nodded gently and turned to look at Xuanmiao Empress, who was sitting cross-legged in the air, and said with a faint smile, I wonder if you can make an exception? As you wish. Xuanmiao Empress said indifferently without opening her eyes. Then, she fell silent again. Whoosh. Then, Bai Juyo led Wu Junyun and Wu Qian into the Moon Lake as the crowd gritted their teeth in anger. Damn it. As expected of the 4 symbols starfield. Even the 9 heavens starfield has to give them face. An elder of the sky reaching church gritted his teeth and snorted in a low voice. The 13th young master and the members of the Nalan family from the Netherworld Underworld Palace had ugly expressions on their faces. Although the Yellow Spring Starfield and the Heaven Span Starfield were slightly weaker than the 9 Heavens Starfield and the 4 Symbols Starfield, they did not deserve such treatment from the Xuanmiao Empress. He had lost all face. Lady Xuanmiao, aren't you afraid of angering my sect by doing this? Humph, the Yellow Springs Underworld will not sit idly by. We will definitely report this matter to the Master of the Yellow Springs Starfield, the Master of the Yellow Springs Starfield. In an instant, the Elders of the Sky Reaching Church and the 13th young master threatened her. Haha, do you know the difference between the Yellow Spring Starfield, the Heaven Span Starfield, and the 9 Heavens Starfield? Xuanmiao Empress smiled indifferently and fell silent again. Whoosh. However, such words were harsh to the ears of the 13th young master and the Elders of the Sky Reaching Church. The difference was naturally the peak of the Star King realm. Although the Heaven Span Starfield and the Yellow Springs Starfield had Star King realm experts, none of them had reached the peak of the Star King realm. However, the 4 Symbols Starfield and the 9 Heavens Starfield each had one peak Star King realm expert. Haha, Lady Xuanmiao is right. Moreover, the Master of the Yellow Springs Underworld Palace and the Sect Master of the Sky Reaching Church are only elders of the Yellow Springs Starfield and the Heaven Span Starfield. They are still not strong enough to represent their starfields to negotiate with Lady Xuanmiao. Suddenly, Bai Juyo's disdainful voice could be heard from the giant ship on the Moon Lake. The 13th young master and the Elders of the Sky Reaching Church turned pale immediately. However, they were speechless. Indeed, they did not have the right to speak on behalf of their respective starfield. Nephew Bai, if you put it this way, I don't know where to hide myself. Wu Qian smiled awkwardly in the giant ship. Bai Juyo's face turned pale as well. Wang Kai had asked him to say that. Otherwise, he would not have said such hurtful words. That's right. You have a bright future ahead of you. Follow this young master well. In the future, this young master will definitely let you be the boss of 4 Symbols Star Region. Wang Kai chuckled as he transmitted his voice over. Congratulations to the host for successfully bragging. You have received 1,000,000 experience and 1,000 bragging points. Bai Juyo felt extremely helpless when he heard that. He thought to himself, is the position of the overlord of the four symbols starfield a piece of cabbage? Can I be the overlord just because I want to? If not for the fact that he owed Wang Kai a favor, Bai Jiuyo would not want to have anything to do with him. It was too dangerous. Although Bai Jiuyo had only met him a few times, he could tell that Wang Kai was a cultivator who was seeking death at any time. Jiuyo, why do you have to listen to that brat? If he dares to act tough, just throw him to Lady Xuanmiao. Wu Qian did not know Bai Jiuyo's difficulties, but Wu Junyun did not know. As Bai Jiuyo's savior, they had known each other for 100 years. Naturally, they knew that Bai Jiuyo would not say anything that would hurt others. Everything must have been instructed by Wang Kai. Chapter 776. Senior Wu, please don't provoke Wang Kai again. If you provoke him too much, you will be in big trouble. Moreover, Xuanmiao Empress is not going to kill him, she is going to ask him for help. Hearing Bai Jiuyo's solemn voice transmission, Wu Junyun was stunned. Xuanmiao Empress is not going to kill Wang Kai? She is going to ask him for help? How is that possible? What do you mean? He is just a cultivator from Tianzhou and he came from the lower plane. How can Xuanmiao Empress take a fancy to him? What can he do to help? Wu Junyun frowned and asked with a strange expression on his face. Bai Jiuyo did not say much but reminded him with a serious voice transmission, Senior Wu, there are some things that I am not sure about. However, you must remember not to provoke Wang Kai. If you really leave him to Xuanmiao Empress, you will be the next one to die. Whoosh. Hearing this, Wu Junyun's face stiffened. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva and waved his hand, not daring to say anything more. In his heart, he was already afraid of Wang Kai. Brother Bai, quickly ask the four sisters to come here. Ben Shao has something to say to them, Wang Kai said with a voice transmission. Bai Jiuyo nodded and turned to walk into the pavilion, only to find that there was no one around. I wonder if the four divine messengers of the Holy Lady of Moon sect are here? Bai Jiuyo frowned and asked softly. Divine messengers? Wang Kai, who had turned into a folding fan, was surprised when he heard that. He did not expect Bai Jiuyo to know about this. Although he had been recuperating in Tianzhou for more than 100 years, he knew some information very well. No wonder he was the young master of White Tiger Star, one of the four symbols star area. Haha, I wonder why young Lord Bai has come to Moon Lake? Buzz. With a chuckle, the four divine messengers, led by Qin Qin, appeared in front of Bai Jiuyo and the others. At the same time, he bowed respectfully to Bai Jiuyo. Qin Qin, quickly send a message to a powerful expert who can fight with Lady Mysterious Miao. Ben Shao needs a powerful expert's help. Qin Qin's figure shuddered when she heard Wang Kai's words. She stared at the fan in Bai Jiuyo's hand in astonishment. She did not expect that Wang Kai and Bai Jiuyo were so close. Bai Jiuyo brought him into the Moon Lake even though she was an enemy of Xuanmiao Empress. Perhaps he will really become the one who will take orders from our sect. Thinking about this, Qin Qin's mood became a bit excited. However, her expression remained calm as she replied, the goddess is currently heading to the Tianzhou. It will take 3 days. Before the goddess arrives, please be patient. 3 days? The goddess came personally? Wang Kai was pleasantly surprised. If the goddess of the Holy Moon sect came personally, it meant that her cultivation would not be inferior to Lady Mysterious Miao Empress. At that time, with a beauty by his side, he could be a fighter. It was indeed a beautiful sight. Well, in that case, Ben Shao will be patient for 3 days. Wang Kai replied casually. Wang Kai, if you don't take the initiative to appear in front of me, Heaven-reaching City will become a wasteland. All the living creatures will be wiped out. Suddenly, Lady Mysterious Miao's indifferent voice rang out, causing Bai Jiuyo and the others to turn pale. Outside, the 13th young master, the people of Heaven Reaching School, and even all the cultivators in Heaven Reaching City turned pale with fright. Damn it! Is she crazy? What should we do? Even if the sect leader came personally, he would not be her match. Could it be that we are destined to die here? Damn it! In an instant, many cultivators began to curse loudly. Some of them even wanted to leave Heaven Reaching City directly. However, no matter how they fled, their final destination was the city gate of Heaven Reaching City. Under the power of Lady Mysterious Meow, no one could step out of Heaven Reaching City. Wang Kai, get out here. Damn you, Wang Kai, do you want us to die with you? You despicable and shameless scum. Get out here. Immediately, angry shouts and curses could be heard. All the cultivators were roaring and cursing Wang Kai. Even the 13th young master could not remain calm at this moment. He had heard of Lady Mysterious Meow's power. If she really attacked, no one in Heaven Reaching City would be left alive. Damn it! This bitch actually dares to be so ruthless with this young master. Hearing the earth-shattering curses outside, Wang Kai's mood could be said to be extremely stifling. Just as he was thinking that this farce would end in 3 days, Lady Mysterious Meow's voice was heard again. Only 1 day. Swoosh. Rumble. Rumble. As soon as her voice fell, Heaven Reaching City was in chaos. Countless cultivators began to bombard the buildings indiscriminately. They all wanted to find Wang Kai's hiding place. Even if they had to destroy the city, they wanted to find Wang Kai. In such a situation, as the city lord of Heaven Reaching City, he had no intention of stopping them. Now that he was about to lose his life, what was the use of a mere Heaven Reaching City? If it were not for his identity as the city lord, he would have destroyed the city long ago. 1 day. Just 1 day. Wang Kai thought inwardly. The more he thought, the angrier he became. The Holy Lady of the Mystic Moon sect would need at least 3 days to reach Tianzhou, but Lady Mysterious Meow only gave him 1 day. If he did not think of another way, even if the Holy Lady of the Mystic Moon sect came, she would only see a ruined Heaven Reaching City. Lady Mysterious Meow, Wang Kai is in the Moon Lake. He is transforming into young Master Bai's fan. Suddenly, Qin Qin stepped out in the air and whispered to Lady Mysterious Meow, who was sitting cross-legged in the air. Swoosh. As soon as she said that, all the cultivators' pupils shrank. At the same time, they breathed a sigh of relief, and looked at the giant ship in the center of the Moon Lake angrily. Damned bitch! How dare you betray Benshao? Buzz. The fan in Bai Jio's hand flew out and revealed Wang Kai's original appearance. He immediately stepped out and cursed at Qin Qin. Divine Son, don't panic. In order to solve the problem in front of you, this is the only way. Let Lady Mysterious Meow take you out of Tianzhou. There will be experts from the Mystic Moon sect waiting at the entrance of the extraterritorial region. Qin Qin frowned and secretly comforted him. However, such words only infuriated Wang Kai even more. Lady Mysterious Meow's cultivation was ranked 2nd in the 9 Heavens star zone. Which expert from the Mystic Moon sect could defeat her? Unless the Holy Lady came, or the Star Master of the Mystic Moon star came in person. Moreover, even if there were experts who stopped Lady Mysterious Meow, he would end up being taken to the Mystic Moon star by the Mystic Moon sect. He would not be able to solve the law of being bound. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.